Hello, this is Daniel Mart back again. I am an actor and filmmaker based out of South Florida, and as you saw from the title of this video, and probably the length of this video, this is going to be my 300th video special where I basically show off my entire movie collection. I do this every single 100 videos that I do. I show off my collection. I did that for my first 100, then my 200th video, and now my 300th video. Kind of. This video is actually going to be video like 305, 306. Really, funny enough, I think my 300th video was actually the last movie haul I did back for April or May, early May. Would come a long way, especially in the last year. I just want to go over some quick stats here I have on my computer here on the side before I actually get to the rest of the video, to the collection, so I could just tell you guys how monumental this accomplishment is. Last year is really when I really began to start posting regularly. My first video last year was on May 12th for actually the Instant Chaos Repellent commercial that I did. It was a fun little short film that I did with friends, and there's two versions of it, and the first one I posted was like the short version of it. There's a short version and a long version. So that was the first video I posted last year on May 12th. So it's been a little bit over a year since that point. And then with my rant essentially on headshots, that's when I really started posting regularly, and that came out on June 30th. Exactly like that last day of June 30th or June 31st. Yeah, but I posted those two videos beforehand, both the short version and the long version of the Instant Chaos Repellent commercial. And back then, and I did the math, back then I had 232 videos, and now we are currently at 305 videos. So we have done 73 videos since then. So just imagine that, 73 videos in that time span in 1 year. Now, in all fairness, not every single video has been a discussion topic or a vlog or whatever have you. Some of them were, especially early on when I was first posting last year, a lot of these videos were just clips of me in a scene or trailers to my short films, stuff like that. But I want to say around October, November is when I kind of stopped doing that, because honestly, I just didn't care to do it anymore. If I'm being completely honest, I just wanted to focus more on actual discussion topics. And even though those clips were bringing in more views for the channel, I just really wasn't fulfilled in doing that, if I'm being honest. So it's one of those things, I was sacrificing the views, but it was helping me be more fulfilled with my channel. But yeah, 73 videos later, we're at 305 videos. This is going to be the 306th video. Also, very fast before I forget here, my 200th video special was actually on December 8th, 2020. That is over 4 years ago. That's almost 4.5 years ago. So that is crazy to think. And again, it just shows how much time I've put into this channel, that in just a span of 1 year, I did 73 videos. That is basically 3/4 of that mile marker. The other 25 videos or whatever, slightly less, 27 videos that I did was between basically 2021 to 2023. The other 73 was all last year. So again, just amazing how we got here. And yeah, I'm going to start off with the movies, and I'm going to start off with DVDs essentially. So yeah, I'm going to start off with the movies and we'll go from there. So the first batch of films I am going to show you guys are actually the ones that don't come in a case. It's going to be these sleeveless ones, or the ones that are coming in this like little, I don't know, bucket, container, whatever you call it. And I have basically 2 of these little containers, plus all the ones here on the sleeve. And I'm going to go backwards, so instead of A to Z, I'm going to go from Z to A, just to make it easier for me, because as you can see, I'd have to like restack this, and it's going to be a whole thing, so I'm just going to do it backwards. Yeah, so given that, I'm going to start with the sleeves first, and we're going to go from there. And this is going to be a long video. So starting now, we have Yonker Joe. We have Wyvern. We have Would-Be Kings. Wild Child. Wall Street. Veed. Vantage Point. Unbroken. Tornado Valley. Trishna, sorry. Trancers. The Zombie Diaries. The Terrorist Next Door. The Sturm Experiment. The Shepherd, Border Patrol. The Robber. This is a 4-pack with The President's Man, The President's Man, A Line in the Sand, A Bounty Hunter, and Bounty Hunter 2 Hardball, The November Man, The Men Who Stare at Goats, The Last Legion, The Korean, The King's Speech, The Hurt Locker, The Haunted Airman, The Guest, The Gray, The Girl in the Park, The Equalizer, The Escapist, The Box, The Book of Eli, The Killing Fields, Tiempo de Venganza, so Time of Vengeance, Tapes from the Underground. So yeah, this is actually a film that I worked on. So yeah, with Matthew Mark Hunter. Taken 2, Storm Force, When Disaster Strikes, Steam Wrecked. So I actually did an interview with the guy who directed this, Christopher Matista. And when I used to do interviews for filmmakers, this was during MISIFI, Miami Science Fiction Film Festival, back in 2017, I want to say, or 2018 when I did that interview with him. So yeah. Stan Helsing, Sniper Legacy. There's like 6 movies in that franchise, if I'm not mistaken. Slumdog Millionaire, Shorts, SEAL Team, Save the Chimps, Speak for Them, Ripstick, the guide on how to ride a ripstick, Ring of Death, Real Steel, Reed Man. So yeah, this is a little web series that a co-star of mine worked on. He gave me the DVD for it at one point. So yeah, it's fun. It's fine for what it is. Fast and Furious 6, or Rápido y Furioso 6. Power Kids, One Day, Pingu on Thin Ice, Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus, Medidas Extraordinarias, Extraordinary Measures, Brendan Fraser and Harrison Ford, Mad Detective, Luces Rojas, Red Lights, Los Hombres que no amaban las mujeres, The Men Who Don't Like Women. I think this is actually like The Girl from the Dragon Tattoo, the Swedish version though, or one of the movies from that series. So yeah, but the Swedish version of it. Live Free or Die Hard, Little Einsteins, Rockets, Firebird Rescue. I think the way I got this was kind of weird when I think about it, because my dad's boss gave it to my dad when me and my sister were very young, because he thought we would like it. And I remember liking it at the time. I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8, I guess. And ever since then, I have it. So go figure. Lincoln. Another 4-pack. This is License to Kill, Spencer, Pill Kings, and Princess, Chance, and Momentum. Momentum, not Memento. Okay, so this is Leewood K8 Center, my 5th grade graduation ceremony videotaped, essentially, a DVD of that. La Fuente de las Mujeres, so The Fountain of Women. Juno. Jumper. Iron Man 3. Incendios. Pretty sure this is Incendie, Denis Villeneuve, so yeah. Ice Age 1. Hunger. Humanity's End. Holmes. Hail Caesar. Gold Digger Killer. So yeah, this is actually a friend of mine, a film that he did, Jeff, and I told him straight up I didn't like the film. I straight up told him that I did not like the film, and he was actually appreciative of my comments towards the film, like, that was, being straight up with him, because, oftentimes, you get this a lot in the industry, like, people will sometimes bullshit you and be like, oh yeah, I really like that film, man, but they can't really, say anything that they actually liked about it, and I'm like, so I saw this movie, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, dog, I didn't like the movie, it sucked, and, He's like, you know what? I've heard that. You know, people have told me it sucks. You know, he's like, he's proud of the work he did, but if people don't vibe with it, he's also cool with it. So, you know, I appreciate that. I still have it, so it was great. Gajini. G.I. Joe 2. Fury. Furia de Titanes. Fury of the Titans. Even in Spanish, this title is grammatically incorrect, if I'm being honest. And I'm pretty sure that's the sequel to Clash of the Titans, because I know there's two of them, but I'm pretty sure that's the second one. Flor de la Vida, Flower of Life. Flicka 3, which I wasn't even aware they made a second one, let alone a third one. So, go figure. So yeah, and a lot of these movies, and I'll explain this right now with Flicka 3, a lot of the reason I have, the bulk of the movies I have that are like this and like sleeves and just like in these cases is because my cousin, he came to America here and then he was going to move back to Colombia. He was going to move back to Colombia and he just had a bunch of these movies laying around and he was like, hey, do you just want them? Because I need to get rid of stuff before I move back home. And that's why I got basically like 99% of these movies is actually from my cousin that he gave it to me. Some of them like Juno, for example, or Wall Street, or those 2 4-packs, I bought them over time, and you know, since I didn't have a case, I just put them here with the rest of them. But the like 99% of these I actually got from my cousin. Fire and Ice. Evan Almighty. Tangled. Enigma. Enemies Among Us. Encuentros de Ultratumba 2. I'm pretty sure this is Paranormal Activity 2. En Busca del Pasado. In Search of the Past. Robin Williams and David Duchovny. So, if you guys want to search it up. Lone Survivor. Boy in the Striped Pajamas. The one thing I hate about this camera setup is the fact that, as you've seen already a few times, it kind of leans after a while. So, you know, screw that. Alright, hopefully that's properly adjusted now. Lone Ranger. Man of Steel. Son of Saul. El Diario de un Mara. The Diary of Mara, I want to say. So, yeah. It starts Gilbert Cavas, I believe that's what it says, and Rodolfo de Anda Jr. El Crucero de los Locos, The Cruise for the Crazy, Cuba Gooding Jr. and Vivica Fox. El Corazón de Guerrero. I can't even tell who's in here because that picture's so cropped. Drag Me to Hell. Domicilio Privado, Private Domicilio, I want to say. Dolan's Cadillac. Al Despertar. Stars Rebecca Hall, Dominic West, Imelda Staunton. And Awakening, I guess would be in English. Demolition. I remember I saw that movie in theaters and just really didn't care for it, if I'm being honest. And then I bought this. I bought this movie specifically to see if my thoughts would change on it. And I was like, if anything, I just felt even more indifferent towards the movie. Came out with a good meme though, I'll say that much. Like that meme of Jake Gyllenhaal just like dancing, coming out of Subway and stuff, that's from that movie, Demolition. Dante 01. Crusaders. Countdown to Jerusalem. Or Countdown Jerusalem. Chicken and Spaghetti, You Can't Break This. So this is actually like a CD, music CD, from somebody that I did an interview with as well. Celda 211, Cell 211. Captive. Carnivorous. Bubba the Redneck Werewolf. And I actually got this with a comic book, if I'm not mistaken. And the guy even signed it for me. I forget his name right now. And it was actually made here down in Florida. I think closer to like the Everglades, that area. And this is actually a really fun movie, from what I remember. I've only seen it the one time, but it's a really fun movie. Battlestar Galactica. The Plan. Battle for Terra. Astro Boy. Art Heist. Armored. Argo. Area Q. Antes de que muera, before you die or before you leave. Does it say who it stars here? Dakota Fanning, Jeremy Irvin, Patty Constantine, Olivia Williams, and Kaya Scodelario. Amor a Morir, Love to Die For, or Die to Love For, so yeah. Love of Death, maybe, yeah. Always Be You, Except You. So this is a film I actually did. A short film that I did, I acted in. And yeah, it was very cool that I got the DVD for it. So yeah, as you can see, I don't really tend to get the DVDs for my projects, mostly because they're usually already online or they're doing their festival run and whatever have you. Yeah, this was a really fun film to be a part of. It was a fun film to be a part of. If I'm being honest, I'm not the biggest fan of how it turned out at the end. I understand that some of the limitations that kind of happened post-production. I understand what they went through the director, but if it's one of those things, if I'm being honest, I still kind of left kind of disappointed in the final project, even though it was really fun doing the project. I'm not gonna take away that. 1066, 10 Dead Men, 310 to Yuma. So before I continue on with the rest of the collection, I'm going to start off with the Blu-rays and then go on to the DVDs. But before that, I'm actually going to show you guys a few DVDs I have here already. These are the DVDs that I can't really put away because I've quite literally run out of space in my room to put them in. I actually need to buy another shelf right now because of my most recent haul. And yeah, these are some of the movies that came from my most recent haul. So I'm just going to show them here really fast because they're kind of just laying around here. And before I actually get into the actual organized section of the collection. And that is Bedtime Stories, Danny Phantom, The Complete Collection, How to Train Your Dragon 3-film collection, Mulan's 1 and 2, the collection for that, Shrek 6 movie collection, and some shorts. So yeah, this actually has all 6 Shrek movies, so Shrek's 1, 2, 3, and 4, plus Puss in Boots 1 and 2, or, you know, The Last Wish, plus 11 shorts and 5 TV episodes, from the Puss in Boots TV show, and it has 11 shorts from, I guess, that they've made for Shrek. So yeah, it's really cool. TMNT, the complete series, and this is the Nickelodeon series that was released or was, you know, produced the last decade. So yeah, and the Jetsons complete series. Plus, this also has the Jetsons meets the Flintstones movie, which I found really cool. So the first one I'm going to show you actually don't technically fit into the collection, and you'll see what I mean in about 2 seconds. But it is, first off, Stranger Things Season 1, and of course it doesn't fit in, because this is a Blu-ray, but, you know, it looks like a goddamn VHS tape, so I can't really fit it into the rest of the collection, per se, when I'm stacking them up. So I kind of have this one on the side. And along with it, I also have the Omen collection, all 4 movies. And yeah, this kind of just got fucked up just during the years. It got really squished. And that's why I also have it kind of off to the side. We're just getting to the movies. And yeah, I'm going to show you alphabetically speaking. I mean, you've already seen that already from Z to A. But this is going to be alphabetically speaking. So the way I have it set up, if you haven't noticed by now, I have numbers at first. And, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know. And then after that, I have letters. And then for the letter T specifically, so it won't matter right now, but for later on, T, any movie that starts with the, like the word the, you know, that goes under the T section. So, like, The Avengers, it's not in the A section, it's in the T section. So, yeah, you probably noticed that already with some of the loose films here, but just to kind of clear it out a bit more. So, yeah, let's go with that. So, yeah, let's get on to the collection. So, first off, we have 3 Bad Men, the 4 Matrix collection, and that has all 3 Matrix movies plus the Animatrix, which is basically a series of short films. It's an anthology movie comprised of 6 different animated short films, and it's really cool the way it's done because it's 6 different styles of animation. It's really cool. 127 Hours, 300, and 300 Rise of Empire, 1917, the Kubrick Collection, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, and The Shining, A Silent Voice, and this is the Steelbook, A Bridge Too Far, A Cure for Wellness, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, A Hollis Frampton Odyssey. So yeah, this is Criterion, and this is basically a collection of a bunch of his films, 24 films, and it's a lot of like short films, to be honest, and a few feature films. He didn't really do that many feature films. He mostly did short films. So, you know, it's really cool to have this. And I've discussed this in some of my previous, more recent hauls. I am trying to look more into avant-garde cinema and more experimental cinema. And Hollis Frampton, he is a huge, huge name in that realm. A Quiet Place. The Adventures Trilogy, a 70s sex comedy threesome. And this basically has The Adventures of a Taxi Driver, Adventures of a Private Eye, and Adventures of a Plumber's Mate. So yeah, another thing I've talked about a little bit on my channel recently, I've been trying to look into other niche genres. So similar to avant-garde cinema and experimental cinema, I've been trying to look into more like sexploitation cinema. And you know, I in one of my previous videos, I went on a mini rant about how sexploitation is not really pornography and how it gets a bad rap because of the fact that it does say sexploitation and whatever have you. And we need to be more open to looking to other avenues of just exploitation cinema in general, because a lot of people just tend to look at like blaxploitation or like gore exploitation or more gorier stuff, but like sexploitation is a thing, and sometimes it's not really what it's made out to be. I mean, yes, it does focus on sex, but it's not to the point that it's basically porn. It's basically my point. Next up, we have American Made, American Hustle, American Psycho, American Sniper, a lot of Americans, and Angel Has Fallen. Annie Hall, Arrival, and this is actually my first 4K movie that I got. I don't really get 4Ks out. I think I only have really 2 4Ks, this one and another one you'll see later. And the reason is because I have a Blu-ray player, so I don't really have a reason to buy 4K movies. The only reason I got these 2 4Ks is because it has a Blu-ray with it. You know, I was more focused on the Blu-ray than the actual 4K, and it was cheaper to get the 4K than the actual Blu-ray. Avengers Infinity War, Baby Driver, and Steelbook. Back to the Future Trilogy, Bad Words, Bad Santa, Bad Boys 1 and 2. I actually know a friend who worked on Bad Boys 3, the one that just came out, and Bad Boys 4 if I'm not mistaken. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Bel Canto, Big Fish and Begonia, Birds of Prey, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Blade Runner 2049, Blomkamp 3 Collection, Blood Diamond, Blue Velvet, and the Blue, White, and Red 3 Colors Trilogy Collection, Bone Tomahawk, Bram Stoker's Dracula and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Brawl in Cell Block 13, 99. Breathless, another Criterion. Bronson's Death Wish Collection. Funny enough, this only has Death Wishes 2, 3, and 4. It doesn't have the first one. So, no, I don't know what's going on there. Bullet by Breckenridge Anthology, Volumes 1 and 2 again. More with the avant-garde cinema stuff. Caddyshack, Captain Phillips, Casablanca, Casino Royale, Casper, Castle in the Sky, Chinatown, Cinderella, arguably the best out of the live-action remakes, and Cleopatra, Cloverfield, Clue, and this is actually the very first Blu-ray I ever got. I got it for Christmas from my mom. Funny enough, back when I didn't even have a Blu-ray player, when I first got this, I had a DVD player. I straight up just had a DVD player, and yeah, I remember watching this actually in my living room because at the time that was the only Blu-ray player we had at the house. So yeah, I watched this in my living room because that was the only place to watch it, and now I do have a Blu-ray player, so now that's why I have all these Blu-rays. But yeah, this is where I'll start for the Blu-rays. So yeah, I don't know, now that I have a few 4Ks, maybe it's gonna go like that. Maybe my Blu-ray player is finally gonna break. Cause funny enough, yeah, my DVD player broke shortly after I got this movie, and then everything opened up to Blu-ray. So maybe that's gonna happen now. You know what? My Blu-ray player is gonna break. I have to get a 4K player, and I'm gonna buy 4Ks. Honestly, knock on wood, I don't care. I'll be honest, I don't see the difference between 4Ks and Blu-rays. Between DVD and Blu-ray, I see it. Between DVD and 4K, I see it. Between Blu-ray and 4K, I see it, but like, it's like kind of whatever to me sometimes too, you know? Collateral. Constantine, City of Demons. Cool Hand Luke. Copycat. Crank. Crazy Heart. Crazy Rich Asians. Creed. Creed 2. Creed 3. Cry of the City. Dances with Wolves. I was surprised when I found out that this was an exclusive for Shout Factory, because I'm like, I feel like this steelbook, because this is a steelbook, it just seemed like such a basic thing to do. Like, I'm surprised this steelbook was never made with like this image or this poster, but I guess it was never made. So yeah, I know it was dirt cheap on at the time because it was like on sale. Dark City, very underrated movie. Date Night. Dazed and Confused. Decalogue. So this is from the same guy who did Blue, Red, and White. Basically his miniseries, anthology miniseries, based on the Ten Commandments. I know he extended 2 of the episodes into their own films of their own right. So yeah. Detective D and the Mystery of the Phantom Flame. Detective Pikachu. Die Hard. Dr. Sleep. Don't Breathe. Drive. Dumbo. Dune. Dunkirk. Edge of Tomorrow, also known as Live, Die, Repeat. You know, the naming for that thing is just a whole mess sometimes. Edward Scissorhands. Elvis. Encanto. One of my favorite Disney movies in general. I'm not sure if it's like my number 1 favorite, but it's definitely number 5 favorite, if I'm being honest. And I'll be honest, a huge part of it has to do with the fact that it takes place in Colombia, and I am half Colombian. So yeah, although using that logic, Emperor's New Groove will also be top 5, because I'm also half Peruvian, I'm Colombian Peruvian, and Emperor's New Groove is based in Peru, in the Incas, and this is in Colombia. But, you know, I'll be honest, Emperor's New Groove is not even in my top 10, if I'm being honest. Enter the Ninja. Escape Plan 2. Escape Plan, The Extraction. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald. I'll be honest, I actually like those movies, even the third one. I kind of wish they would have continued, but I understand why they didn't. Fear the Walking Dead, Season 1, and this has the lenticular cover, which I would scratch, but like I always get like, you know, just a weird feeling every time like lenticular is scratched. So yeah. Friday the 13th, the original one, the first one. Frozen. Game of Thrones, season 2. I have season 1 in DVD, so you'll see that one later. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Gentleman's Agreement. Ghost in the Shell, steelbook. Ghost in the Shell, this is the live action one. So yeah, this is the original anime, and this is the live action one with Scarlett Johansson. I actually like this one. It's not as good as the original. Nowhere near as good as the original, but I still had a lot of fun with it, and I liked it. Godland, honestly one of the most beautiful looking movies I've ever seen. Yeah, just one of the most amazing, beautiful movies I've ever seen, if I'm being honest. Godzilla, 2014. Yeah, from like 10 years ago. I'm not gonna lie, I actually really like this movie. I feel like the tide really turned against this movie for a lot of reasons, especially in recent years. But I actually really like that one. Gone Girl. Goodfellas, another steelbook. Gotham, Season 1. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2. Gundala, Rise of a Hero. Hangover Square. Hatchet. Heavy Metal. Hell or High Water. Hellfest. Home Alone, Homeland Season 1, Hostiles, Hot Fuzz, How Green Was My Valley, In the Heights, Inception, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, I know it originally came out just as Raiders of the Lost Ark, but it has Indiana Jones here at the beginning, so it's part of the ice section. Ip Man Trilogy. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they've made a 4th and maybe even a 5th movie after this. So yeah, and I think there's also a documentary about this. I'm not sure if it's like about the guy himself or the making of these movies, but I know there's also a documentary based around it. It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. It's a Wonderful Life. It Follows. Honestly, when this first came out, what, like 10 years ago, I think? Maybe a little bit less than that. I remember I actually didn't care for this movie when it first came out, and I really never wanted to watch it ever again, if I'm being honest. Like, that's how much I really didn't like this movie. But I couldn't deny that this steelbook was really cool. Really cool steelbook. Honestly, one of my favorite steelbooks that I had, or I have in general. And honestly, that's why I got this movie again, for the steelbook. And after a while, I'm like, I have this movie, might as well just rewatch it. Maybe my views have changed on it, and yeah, my views on this movie have drastically changed, have drastically improved, and I really like this movie. I really like this movie. Now, Jacob's Ladder, another very underrated movie. Honestly, one of my favorite horror movies of all time, for sure. John Dillman, 23, Quai du Commerce, 1080 Bruxelles. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure this was just on Sight and Sound. I believe it's Sight and Sound. This just became, like, the #1 movie of all time on Sight and Sound. I think, like, even over stuff like The Godfather and Apocalypse Now and whatever else has been there in the past. So, very interesting that this is the one that kind of overtook that. And honestly, it's very well deserved. It's very well deserved. And also, this is actually the first Criterion I ever bought. Or I ever got in general. It was during one of their Criterion flash sales that I got it. So, because if you guys know, most Criterion movies cost like a good $40. And, you know, I understand why they're that much, but let's be honest, that's also kind of expensive if you ask me. So, you know, when they have their flash shows, it's usually like 50% off. Plus shipping and handling. So I got this for about $20, maybe $25. If I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there. So, yeah, this is my first Criterion. Honestly, it's a great movie. It's very long, and if you're not, you kind of have to be in the mood for it. You really have to be in the mood for it, because this is one of those things, and I've discussed this in the past, but this is this is basically slow cinema, and it's a movie that's basically a genre I really like getting into. I love getting into it and watching those kind of movies, and there is a part of me that wants to make a slow cinema movie. I even did a video based on that topic, and this movie is a huge inspiration behind that. So yeah, but honestly, yeah, it's my first Criterion, very great, love it. And I know it's kind of random for it being my first Criterion, but hey, that's just the reality of the situation. Joan of Arc, Ingrid Bergman. So yeah, this is actually the Ingrid Bergman Joan of Arc, which I didn't even know there was a Ingrid Bergman Joan of Arc movie. When I bought this, I actually thought it was gonna be the black and white silent film like from like 1920. But yeah, literally when I got it, I realized, oh shit, it's the Ingrid Bergman version. Screw it, whatever. It is what it is. So yeah, go figure. Jobs. John Wick Chapter 4, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3. Okay, these are all out of order. Chapter 1, or the original one, I have as a DVD, so you'll see that when the time comes. Joker. Jumanji, the original one. The Jurassic Park collection. So yeah, this has the first 3 Jurassic Park movies plus Jurassic World. Kiki's Delivery Service. I probably should rewatch this, because I remember when I first saw it, the only time I've seen it, I really didn't care for it, if I'm being honest. King Kong, the 2004 movie, and this is a steelbook. Labyrinth. I'm pretty sure this was my first digibook. I'm pretty sure. If it's not this one, then it's another one you'll see later down the line. I don't really have that many digibooks. That's also the thing. Last Action Hero. Last Night in Soho. Lawless, honestly, kind of an underrated movie. Lawrence of Arabia in this beautiful steelbook, if I'm being honest. Leon the Professional. Let the Sunshine In. Lifeboat. Little Miss Sunshine. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Logan Lucky. I actually know a person. I actually worked with him. Someone who was in this movie as a featured extra. He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was like one of the construction workers in like one of the flashback scenes when they're going over the plan. In the end of the movie, I want to say. Lorna the Exorcist. Love and Monsters. Love, Simon. Mad Max Fury Road. I'm probably going to rewatch this soon because Furiosa is about to come out, or already came out by this point. And if I'm being honest, when this movie came out 10 years ago, I really wasn't in love with it. If I'm being honest, I'm like, it's just one big ass car chase. Who gives a shit? Like the one thing that I really loved about this movie, I was very like bored by it. So I kind of want to rewatch it to see if my thoughts have changed because I haven't seen it since it first came out. So yeah, but I got it because why not? Mass Effect, Paragon Lost. Mayhem. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. Megan. Men in Black 2. Metropolis, and this is the anime version or the anime movie from the 90s, I want to say. And with this really cool slipcover. So, yeah, it's like this transparent slipcover. It's really amazing. Like, that's the steelbook with it. Yeah. Really cool slipcover. Midnight Cowboy. Midway. The Miklos Jansko collection. So this contains 6 of his movies. The Roundup, The Red and White, The Confrontation, Winter Wind, Red Psalm, and Electra My Love. Millennium Actress, really cool movie with another steelbook here. Misery. Moonlight, and this is an amazing movie. And I think one of the things that I personally like about this movie is the fact that I actually know some of the locations that were filmed here. Like, that's the thing, when like, for Bad Boys, for example, because we know that's shot in Miami, shot in Miami, so to speak, but, like, you only ever see the beaches. That's the thing, with any movie that's ever shot here in Miami, you only ever see downtown, you only ever see the beach, maybe Brickell, and, like, that's about it, maybe Wynwood, but no, you see, like, the ugly versions of, or, like, the ugly side of Miami here, and I kind of just like it, like, you see the train stations, or the metro movies, which, some of these places I've actually, like, been to myself, or, like, you see, like, Hialeah, for example, and some of these, like, or, Alapata, or whatever, like, some of these, like, lesser places that people just refuse to pay attention to because it's not the beach, it's not downtown, it's not Brickell or whatever. So yeah, for that I really like it. I actually also know a few people who work on this, and I have actually worked with them too. So that's always cool. Morgan Road, which is also translated to The Dawn. So this is a Swedish or Norse movie, I forget right now, and this is from a filmmaker that was at MISIFI, Miami International Film Festival, Anders Elsrund Holtgren, and he showed this movie during the festival, and I really liked it, and I bought it. The one downside is that I guess the movie or the disc is not compatible with my Blu-ray player, so go figure. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but fuck, it is what it is. But he got his signs. So Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. So yeah, again, if Labyrinth wasn't my first digibook, then it was definitely this one. It was one of those two that was my first digibook. I'm more inclined to say it was actually this one when I think about it. Murder on the Orient Express, My Neighbor Totoro, My Neighbor the Yamadas. Honestly, from all the Studio Ghibli movies I've seen, this was probably my least favorite one. I'll be honest here, the one thing that really bugged me about this movie was honestly the mother character. The mother in this movie, not the grandmother, the mother. She annoyed the ever-living fuck out of me in this movie, and every time she popped up on screen, I'm like, can she just not be here? I find her annoying, and that character, honestly, almost single-handedly ruined the movie. I just found her really, really fucking annoying. National Lampoon Christmas Vacation. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Night People. Nosferatu. Nuclear. Oblivion. Once Upon a Time in America. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. 1 Million Years BC. Pain and Gain. Paper Towns. Parasite. Parental Guidance. Fatima Inverted, Pet Cemetery, the original one, the Pitch Perfect trilogy, Pitfall, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Platoon, Pokemon Trilogy. The Pokemon Trilogy has Pokemon the first movie, Pokemon the movie 2000, and Pokemon 3 the movie. And it's a steelbook, which I really like. Porco Rosso. The Predator. This is the Robert Rodriguez one from 2000, whatever, like 2005, 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there. Rayman. Ready Player One. And kind of a funny story with this one. And it's going to start off with a really, really big I guess. Because honestly, I don't really know. But I'm going to go with I guess. Or more like I think. It's more like that. I think I auditioned for this project. And what I mean by that, it's that when this project was still in production in what, like 2016? Or whatever, 2017? Whenever this was in pre-production, there was a casting website that was doing, casting calls for this movie for Wade Watts and the main character and all these, and everybody in this movie, and they're like, oh, we're looking for fresh faces for this movie, and I actually auditioned. I'm pretty sure you can still see my audition video because I have it posted here on my channel, so you can still find the audition video I did back when I was like in high school for this movie. And it was one of those things, like the casting websites, I think it was like castit.com or something like that. And they were like, oh yeah, we're looking for fresh faces for the movie. Steven Spielberg wants fresh faces that's never been in movies before, or like that's not well known or anything like that. And he's going to go through the auditions and you're going to get the callbacks if he likes you enough, blah, 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 blah. And here's the thing. I knew it would have been a long shot for me to be in this movie regardless. I knew that much. But it's one of those things, I still wanted to try just to see what's up. If Steven Spielberg, if you can see my face, see me act, that's all I wanted. That's really all I wanted. Literally, the contest ends one day. Literally the next day, they announced Ty Sheridan as the lead character. And I'm like, okay, so that whole thing was pure bullshit. Got it. And it was such a big deal that a bunch of other YouTubers who had auditioned, or actors who had auditioned for the parts here, even commented about it at the time. I think it's even on IMDb as a trivia thing. Like this website did the casting call, and literally one day later, Ty Sheridan was cast. So it was a whole thing with it. Reanimator, Rio Bravo, Rise of the Guardians. Honestly, a very underrated movie, if you ask me. Robin Hood, RoboCop, the original one, the RoboCop remake. I'm not gonna lie, for the longest time, I actually preferred the remake to the original, and then I saw the original again, and I'm like, you know what? Actually, this is better. I still like this one, if I'm being honest. It's one of those things what I really should do is watch both of these back to back one day and really define which one I like better. So, yeah. Also, despite the fact that it says 3D right there, the version I have isn't in 3D. Robots, Romeo plus Juliet, The Satellite Girl and the Milk Cow. Honestly, a strange fucking film in like the best way possible. Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Vampire, the Saw collection, and this is all 7 movies that were released at the time. So that's Saw 1 through 7 essentially. Scarface, Schindler's List, Shaun of the Dead, Shazam with the lenticular cover, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, Sherlock Holmes. I actually got this steelbook literally the day after the Oscars this year at like a Dollar Tree. You always find Blu-rays, you always find DVDs at Dollar Tree. Never do you find a steelbook. So I got this in about 2 seconds. Silent Avant-Garde Cinema collection, basically. So yeah, again, I've been trying to get into more experimental cinema, into more avant-garde cinema. So this is what I got. And actually, this one actually shows the titles of the movies that are in here, or short films. The longest one here, it's 21 minutes. So that's the longest one here. The shortest one here is quite literally 5 minutes long. There's 2 of them. Oh no, there's one here that's literally 2 minutes long. So again, all avant-garde cinema here. And just to go over the films here, you have $24 Island, Einstein, Mexico footage, Anemic Cinema, Past the Dew, Vorkapich montage sequence, A Bronx Morning, Look Park, Life and Death of 9413, Hand, Return to Reason, Manhattan, Ballet Mechanique, Hearts of Age, Escape, New York, New York, The Eclipse, Tenga Fe, The Enchanted City. So, yeah, a bunch of little short films right there. And here's the thing, because I remember I also said this back when I got this in the haul video where I featured this, but you could definitely find a bunch of these shorts like on YouTube or Venmo or whatever the fuck, or is it Venmo or Vimeo? So yeah, thing is that the quality for those movies, like the actual picture quality, are going to be complete shit. So that's why it's better to have the Blu-ray, because the picture quality is actually improved. It's actually cleared up, so to speak. And also, maybe they randomly take down some of these short films for whatever reason, so now you have it on physical media. That's, again, physical media is great. Don't lose it, please. Silver Linings Playbook. The Scene Escalas, Non-Stop. Sleepaway Camp. Sleepers. Snowpiercer. Solo, A Star Wars Story. Again, the only other 4K that I have, and I said this when I first got this movie, and I'm gonna say it again. Honestly, I prefer this to Rogue One. I went on a huge rant against Rogue One. I think it's fine. I think Rogue One is fine. I just think that Rogue One is very overrated, and this movie is very underrated, overhated. Also, like, yeah, I went on a whole rant on in the video where I featured this though. Space Jam, the original one. Spawn, the Speed Racer complete series. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Homecoming. Next up, we have the Star Wars The Complete Saga, so all 6 original movies. Studio 666, so yeah, this is actually the Foo Fighters horror movie. Basically, that's how it is. And it has Taylor Hawkins here, and probably his only role, aside from like music videos, probably his only role. So yeah, he did this a few years before he died, so it's actually a really fun movie. I really do recommend you guys check it out. If you guys are a fan of horror movies or the Foo Fighters or rock music, definitely check it out. Suicide Squad, the extended cut. Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay. Sushi Girl. Tales from Earthsea. Taxi Driver. The Terminator anthology, so this is all the first 4 Terminator movies, so Terminator T2 Judgment Day, T3 Rise of the Machines, and Terminator Salvation. The Age of Shadows. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Apartment. I know I've seen this movie. I don't remember shit about it. The Apu trilogy. So I got this earlier this year. It was kind of a pain in the ass to find it and get it, but I finally got it. And honestly, straight up, I will say this, no hesitation, one of the best trilogies of all time. Straight up. I definitely think it should be up there in the conversation with best trilogies of all time, for sure. And honestly, I think the only reason it's not up there in conversation is because foreign cinema. This is a film from India. Straight up. That's honestly why. I think that's honestly the only reason that's not considered one of the best trilogies ever. And also because this is Satyajit Ray's like first movies, essentially. I'm pretty sure Panther Panchali, which is the first one in the trilogy, is like his first movie, period. Yeah, these are one of his first movies ever, period. And he's considered one of the best filmmakers of all time, like not just in Indian cinema, just of all time. Like Scorsese always looks to him as a inspiration, as a mentor. So Satyajit Ray, he had such a huge impact on cinema as a whole. And honestly, it's a shame that we don't talk about his movies in general. But if you're gonna watch any of his movies, it's gonna be like, I'll be honest, this is the only ones I've seen of his, and watching these movies made me want to look into more of his stuff, if I'm being honest. And it's such a shame that this trilogy isn't in the conversation for best trilogy of all time. Like, it's, you know, it's always like The Godfather, which is a great trilogy, don't get me wrong, even if there are issues with the third one, but still, honestly, it should be in the conversation. And really think about it, it kind of pisses me off that it's not. The Bank Job. The Batman. The Big Lebowski. Honestly, this is one I should probably rewatch, because I remember when I first saw it, didn't really care for it. So, go figure. The Boy. The Challenge. The Complete Jacques Tati Collection. This has all 6 of his movies. Well, 6, 7, 8, because he also did multiple short films. So this is like all 6 of his movies plus a bunch of his short films that he did over his lifetime. And those include Jour de Fête, Monsieur Hulot's Holiday, My Uncle, Playtime, Traffic, and Parade. Honestly, Parade's probably the worst movie that he ever did for several reasons. And yeah, and it also has a bunch of other stuff. There's a documentary that he did. I want to say for like the Olympics back in like the 1970s, or I think it was like the Olympics or like the Grand Prix or something like that. So he, and some of his other short films that he did over his lifetime. So yeah, this is like the complete collection for Jacques Tati. The Crazies, The Crow, The Dark Crystal, The Diary of Anne Frank, The Edge of the World, The Evil Dead 1 and 2, The Fast and the Furious. And actually, I got this steelbook basically like that week, or one of the first 2 weeks or whatever that Paul Walker died, because yeah, like I had only ever seen the first 2 Fast and the Furious movies, I want to say, up until that point, 2 or 3. So yeah, like when he died, they just kind of released all the steelbooks at the time that were released up until that point. I want to say like the first essentially 6 movies. I only got the first one because like steelbooks were expensive, and I was still a teenager, didn't really have money, so I only had enough money for the first one. So yeah, The Fault in Our Stars, The Fisher King, The Flash. Honestly, not as bad as I thought it would be, if I'm being honest. I just think that the final act, the third act, is just kind of a mess. I think the first 2 acts are good, and the third act is just a complete mess. And, Ezra Miller, a lot of controversies. I'm not going to comment on that. I'm just going to comment on his performance. And honestly, his performance as Barry Allen is actually good. But speaking of the Flash first season, Grant Gustin, honestly, regardless of what I just said about Ezra Miller, this is honestly the definitive Flash. Although, to be fair, I haven't seen John Wesley Shipp, right? I haven't seen his series at all. What was it, like 1 or 2 seasons? So, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's the definitive Flash. But for now, for my standing, it's still Grant Gustin, no matter what. The Fly, and this is actually the original The Fly from like the 1960s, 1958, sorry. And yeah, I remember when I first got this, I bought it thinking it was, Jeff Goldblum's The Fly. When I got this, I didn't even know that there was an original The Fly. I just thought it was the one movie with Jeff Goldblum, and then I saw this, popped it in, I'm like, this looks way older than the 80s. What the hell is going on? Then I searched it up, I'm like, oh shit, that's a remake? This is the original? Cool. And I really liked it. Honestly, I really like this movie. I have seen Jeff Goldblum's The Fly, the remake, I guess, the 1981, the Cronenberg one, and it's one of those things, I don't know which one I like more. I honestly don't know which one I like more. I do like the body horror elements and the story that takes place more in the 80 version. But this one, it just has a lot of charm. Honestly, that's what it comes down to. It just has a lot of charm, and I feel like I have fun with it just a little bit more. The Girl with All the Gifts, The Green Knight, The Green Mile, and Forrest Gump, The Hateful Eight, The Hitman's Bodyguard, The Holy Mountain by Leni Riefenstahl, and you've heard me say this again before, and I'll say it again. I bought this movie thinking it was another movie. So yeah, I bought this movie thinking it was the Alejandro Jodorowsky Holy Mountain, not knowing that there was a Leni Riefenstahl version, and very interesting that there's a Leni Riefenstahl version. If you guys don't know who Leni Riefenstahl is, she was a major filmmaker around Nazi-era Germany. She made a lot of Nazi propaganda films, so that's just a lot. But she did this way before the Nazis came into power. Does it say? Yeah, 1926. So this is from 1926, a silent movie. So yeah, this would have been like post World War I. The Host, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and this has both the first and the second movie. I've only ever seen the first one. The Intern, honestly, another underrated movie. It's one that I actually like. It's one of those feel-good movie for me, if I'm being honest. Like, if I want to be happy, feel happy, I'll just pop this one in. The Invisible Man. The Iron Lady. Next up, we have the Jewish Show's 10 classic Yiddish cinema movies. And again, this is going back to the stuff that I was saying with avant-garde cinema, with sexploitation. I'm trying, especially this year, I'm trying to look into these different genres or genres of cinema that you don't really focus on, you don't really pay attention to. And Yiddish cinema is a genre of movie that I didn't even know was a thing till this year. So yeah, it has 10 movies, and the 10 movies that are here, they span from 1937 to 1950, and they're all based on like Jewish and Yiddish culture. At the very least, some of them are probably like based on myths. I haven't seen any of these movies yet, to be honest, but it's great. And yeah, the 10 movies that are featured in this collection are The Die Book, Mir Kumen On, American Matchmaker, Overture to Glory, Tevye, The Yiddish King Lear, Her Second Mother, Motel the Operator, Eli, and Three Daughters. So those are the 10 movies that are here. So yeah, whenever I get around to it, I'm really excited to watch this and see what's in it. The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2. The Lion in the Winter, The Mask of Zorro and the Legend of Zorro. The Maya Deren Collection, again, avant-garde cinema at its finest, and again, these are a bunch of short films. For the most part, I think there's one or two of them that are actually feature films, but for the most part, these are all short films. And again, like I've said this before with some of the other collections, you can definitely find these movies on YouTube or Vimeo or whatever, but again, they're on Blu-ray here. The actual picture quality has been cleaned up, upgraded, whatever. And again, having physical media, you know, if they get taken down from YouTube, cool, fuck it, whatever it is, what it is. I have it on physical media. Again, just another reason to have physical media. And the films that are featured here are Mashes of the Afternoon, At Land, A Study in Choreography for Camera, The Private Life of a Cat, Ritual in Transfigured Times, Meditation on Violence, The Very Eye of Night, and The Divine Horseman. So those are all the films, short films that are here. I'm pretty sure there's one or two of them that are actually feature films, if I'm not mistaken. And The Mummy, Tom Cruise's The Mummy. I'm not gonna lie, I actually like this movie. I said it. I actually like this movie. I have fun with it, and sometimes that's all that matters. The Negotiator, The Northman, The Oxbow Incident, The Punisher, The Redeemed, The Return of the Living Dead, The Revenant. Yes, Leo won the Oscar for this one, but I think we can all agree he deserved it more for The Wolf of Wall Street. But either way, regardless, I am still happy he finally has an Oscar. The Rocky Horror Picture Show, The Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus, so this is a concert film, The Santa Claus, The Shape of Water, The Silence of the Lambs, The Sixth Sense, The Social Network, The Smurfs, The Sting, The Ten Commandments, and this actually has both versions, the 1923 and the 1956 movie, so it has both of them. And this is another digibook that we have here. So yeah, and this is just a little like behind the scenes stuff that came with it too. So yeah, I always just like keeping it there. The Third Man, The Towering Inferno, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, The Unholy Four, The Usual Suspect, The Vincent Price Collection, and I think this is like volume 1 or 2. There's like 3 or 4 volumes of this, and so yeah, I have one of the volumes. I think this is volume 1. I'm pretty sure this is volume 1. But yeah, this has The Pit and the Pendulum, The Mask of the Red Death, The Haunted Palace, The Fall of the House of Usher, The Abominable Dr. Phibbs, and Witchfinders General, also known as The Conqueror Worm. So yeah, those are the 6 movies that are in this collection. Walking Dead Season 3, The Walking Dead Season 4, The Wizard of Oz, and this is actually the very first steelbook I ever got. And I actually got it in a competition. And there was a YouTuber back in the day. I believe his name is Big Block Blu-ray, or was Big Block Blu-ray, and yeah, he was doing a competition, and I won first place, and he was giving away 3 prizes, and I forget what the other 2 prizes are, because why would I remember, you know? But I got the Steelbook for Wizard of Oz, and honestly, just a great Steelbook, because here's the thing, a lot of people call this a metal pack because of the way this thing folds, you know, like, because it folds like that, like an actual Steelbook. Here, let me get this thing. Like an actual Steelbook has that, though. It has like that, like it opens up like this with this thing, you know, with the thing showing. But that's not how it is with the Wizard of Oz. As you can see, the Wizard of Oz just kind of goes in there. So there's a huge debate if that's a metal pack or a Steelbook or whatever. Frankly, I don't give a shit, if I'm being honest. But there's always a huge controversy on that. But yeah, this is the first Steelbook / metal pack that I ever got. Thanks to Big Block Blu-ray. I'm really sad that he never continued his channel. He started doing like EDM stuff, like becoming a DJ and stuff like that, and then he just kind of stopped posting. And yeah, I hope he's having fun with his family and whatever, because I remember he had a family. So I hope, you know, hopefully, best wishes to him. But yeah, Wizard of Oz, really cool, really great. And yeah, and this does have a 3D disc back when that was a huge thing too. So yeah, and this was the 75th anniversary Steelbook, metal pack, whatever the pack. It is what it is. The Wolf of Wall Street, the Wolverine, the Zookeeper's Wife. Remember, I said all the films I have, if they start with the, they're actually in the T section. So now we go from The Zookeeper's Wife to Thor: The Dark World. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Time Lapse. Honestly, I got this movie just for Danielle Panabaker because she was in the Flash show. And at the time, I was watching the Flash show a lot. I stopped watching it around, honestly, season 4. The last episode I ever saw was actually the first episode of season 4. Go figure. So yeah, but Danielle Panabaker was Caitlin Rose, right? Caitlin Snow, in that show, and she did a movie around that time. And I'm like, you know what? Let me get it. And this is actually a really fine movie. It's a really fine movie. I've only seen it the one time, but I remember I liking it. Titanic, Sangre y Acero, the series. So yeah, Titanic, Blood and Steel, the series. I'm a huge fan of Titanic, or I guess that's just a really weird way to word it, but I'm like, yeah, I'm a really huge fan of the Titanic. Like, I love everything that has to do with the Titanic. I have a bunch of other Titanic movies and DVDs, again, mostly DVDs, and I want to get more Titanic DVDs and whatever, or movies and series and whatever. So yeah, just this series is about the making of the Titanic, or like the Titanic ship, like the building to it. And again, it's one of those things it has fictional elements mixed in with like real life elements. And the finale of this miniseries is literally them, like, as they finish building the Titanic and boarding the ship. Like the very last scene shot of the movie is Titanic sailing away from England. Top Gun Maverick. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of Top Gun, the original Top. Like, I like it, I have fun with it, but it's one of those things I don't really have nostalgia for it, and it's not just because I wasn't born when this came out, but like it's one of those things, like, yeah, it's a fun 80s movie. It's, you know, it gets the adrenaline pumping, and I like it. But honestly, despite that, Top Gun Maverick, just Jesus fucking Christ, such an amazing movie. And like, I honestly feel like, I'll be honest, I feel like this movie works regardless of the first one. This movie still works. Give a damn about the first one. Now, granted, the first one does help Top Gun Maverick a bit, but I'll be honest, like, there's parts of it, like, I kind of forget that this is a sequel, straight up. Total Recall, the original one with Schwarzenegger. Train to Busan. And this is actually part of a trilogy. And yeah, not many people know this. A lot of people know that this has a sequel, Peninsula. A hell of a downgrade from this movie. It's still a fun movie. Not gonna lie, it's still a fun movie. But still a hell of a downgrade from this one. But there's also an animated movie, an animated prequel to this movie that came out around the same time, called Seoul Station. And it ends more or less where this movie begins, on the train station, with when that girl like comes onto the train, a zombie. It kind of ends like just before that, like right before that. And that's honestly another great little trilogy. Again, the third one kind of shot the bed, so to speak, but it's still a fine movie. But honestly, I think Seoul Station is a really good movie. I know a lot of people have problems with Seoul Station, and I'm like, really? Those are your problems? If anything, I think some of those quote-unquote problems are actually some of the best elements of that movie. So I don't know what you're complaining about, but yeah, that's just me. Turning Red. Honestly, I think this movie gets a little bit like overhate sometimes. Like, it's a little bit overhated. Like, again, it's not like people are like fucking saying fuck this movie or anything, but like, I do think this movie gets a little bit of unnecessary hate, if you ask me. Twister, the original one. Let's see how the remake turns out. Uncut Gems. Under the Skin. Valkyrie. Violent Night. Whisper of the Heart. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Wonder Woman. The sequel to this was honestly absolute fucking garbage. And X-Men Days of Future Past, the Rogue Cut. So yeah, that is it. That is it for all my Blu-rays. That is it for all my Blu-rays. So now we move on to the DVDs. And honestly, because I've been collecting DVDs for the majority of my collecting career, so to speak, again, I started off with a DVD player. So for the longest time, for the first 2 or 3 years of me collecting movies, I had no reason to collect Blu-rays, to buy Blu-rays. And I've been collecting movies for about 12 years at this point. So imagine that, for the first 12 years. So I've been collecting for 12 years. The first 3 years of that, I was just buying DVDs. You know, and over time, I still buy DVDs. I'll be honest, I still buy DVDs. Sometimes I'll try to go more for the Blu-ray, but I'm going to be honest, I still buy DVDs. And because of that, that's why DVDs are the bulk of my collection, just bar none. You've already seen some of my other DVDs with the ones that were like just loose in, you know, in those slips in these containers, as well as the few DVDs I still need to put away. But now we're gonna get to the actual meat and bones of this collection, which is all the DVDs. They're coming up right now. All right, I had to get some water very fast because my throat is just parched right now, and we still have a long way to go. So let's continue on with this. So again, we start off with numbers before we go on to the letters, and that's the thing, especially with the DVDs. A lot of these are like 2 film collections, 3 film collections, whatever film collections. So I kind of categorize it with that at first, usually, especially when it comes to my Blu-rays. I mean, my DVDs. So here we go. So first off, we have a 2 film collection, Monster Mayhem. This is King Kong and Son of Kong. 2 films. This is Dr. Blood's Coffin and the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. 2 films. Scooby-Doo and Batman the Brave and the Bold, and Scooby-Doo meets Batman. 2 movies. The Gunfighters and The Gun and the Pulpit. 3 movies. 2103 The Deadly Wake, The Triangle, and Poseidon Adventure. And this is a movie that I honestly just got because of the Triangle. Thinking that it was another movie called Triangle, and I was thinking of the movie Triangle with actually Chris Hemsworth and like one of his earlier roles. He's not the main character, but that's the I think that's the biggest actor in that movie, and it came out like in 2007, 2008, somewhere around there, maybe 2009. And I bought this collection thinking that this triangle was that triangle. So yeah, but instead it's this other triangle called with Luke Perry and Dan Cortese. This also has the Poseidon Adventure and again 2103 The Deadly Wake. The other 2 movies I've never heard of. Actually, I've heard of the Poseidon Adventure. There's like 5 different versions of the Poseidon Adventure, or like remakes or whatever. So yeah. 4 Fantastic Four World's Greatest Heroes. And yeah, this is actually like first off with like number 4. So yeah, go figure. And I'm pretty sure this was my first ever Black Friday buy, or at least the first one I can remember where I bought anything on Black Friday. I'm 99% sure it was this. 99% sure it was this. And even where I got it, it's like, you expect me to get this like at Target or Best Buy. No, I didn't get this at Target. I didn't get this at Best Buy. I got this at Burlington Coat Factory, of all places, for some fucking reason. Like, you know how when you go to the cashier register and they, you know, like the line, the queue, and you have all those random items that are like right there as you're waiting in line. There's like, oh, like drinks and like random little gloves or like little toys for the kids. This was there, and that's honestly the reason I got it. And I got it for during Black Friday. So I want to say like Black Friday 2013, maybe somewhere around there. So yeah, the 4 film collection for Pokemon, and this has Pokemon Heroes the movie, Pokemon Forever, Pokemon Destiny Deoxys, and Pokemon Jirachi Wishmaker. 4 movie collection, Sci-Fi Creature Classics, and this has 20 Million Miles to Earth, The Giant's Claw, Mothra, and It Comes From Beneath the Sea. 5 movie collection, Creature Feature, Killers from Space, Monsters from a Prehistoric Planet, Destroy All Planets, Attack of the Monsters, Sound of Horror. The 6-film set collection for Hellraiser, and this has Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, Hellraiser Bloodline, Hellraiser Inferno, Hellraiser Hellseeker, Hellraiser Deader, and Hellraiser The Hell Road. So, yeah, it starts off with number 3. So, I don't get it. Like, you saw this again with, like, Death Wish. Death Wish? Death Proof? The bronze and stuff, where it's, like, started with the second one. Like, they didn't have the first one. I just went 2, 3, and 4. This is 9 movie collections. 9. That's the thing. I forget if this is actually, like, 9. Like, it's advertised as 9, but it has, like, a slightly more than, like, I think it has actually 10 movies here. But it has The Snow Creature, The She-Beast, The Curse of the Wolf, Blood Predators, Chupacabra vs. the Alamo, House of Mystery, Juggernaut, Mesa of Lost Women, and Horrors of a Spider Island. 8 heads in a duffel bag. 8 movie horror collection from Blumhouse, and this has Get Out, Split, The Purge Anarchy, The Purge Election Year, Unfriended, Ouija, Origin of Evil, and The Visit. 8 Mega Shark movies, and this has Toxic Shark, Shark in Venice, Malibu Shark Attack, Sharkman, Shark Attack 2, Shark Attack 3, The Megalodon, and Shark Zone. Honestly, Durant Cinema, if you guys know who that is, he loves, like, cheesy shark movies. I wonder if he has this collection. I feel like he would love it. 8 Mile. 8-film collection, and this includes The Shadow, Backwoods, Feeding Grounds, Nether Road, Blood Predator, Ghost Walks, The Black Raven, and Gothic. Honestly, I love collections like this. They're always made by, what is it, Miller's Creek? But, like, a bunch of these collections, they're usually made by, like, Miller's Creek, but, like, I just love them because, like, they have the most randomest fucking movies ever. It's just fun to get your hands on some of these movies because they're always some weird, like, B movies that you've never heard of, and even if they're always, like, so good it's bad. Like, usually, sometimes you do get, like, some, like, real bad movies, but, like, it's always, like, so good it's bad, or these low budget movies, like, what, how the fuck did they make this? Or, like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, this is so bad. Like, I love collections like this. I just fucking love collections like this. 8 wartime comedies, and this includes Buck Privates, In the Navy, Here Comes the Waves, Hail the Conqueror Hero, Caught in the Draft, Francis Joins the Wax, The Private War of Major Benson, and The Perfect Furlough. 10 Cloverfield Lane, 10 Things I Hate About You, 10 movie collection War, and this includes The Eagle and the Hawk, The Last Outpost, Wake Island, Bengal Brigade, To Hell and Back, Battle Hymn, Joe Pilot, In Enemy Country, Raid on Rommel, and Ulzana's Raid. 10 movie collection with the Dead Walking collection, and this includes, this is another Echo Bridge one. This includes Destined to be Ingested, Revolt of the Zombies, Zombies vs. Strippers, Diner, Get It, and that's literally how it's called, Diner, Get It? The Last Man on Earth, Ashes, Autumn, I Eat Your Skin, Mortuary, and Rivers of Darkness. 3 Ernest movies. Why the hell is this on number 3 here? The fuck? There is something out of order here. This should be somewhere else. The hell? I guess I kind of misplaced some of these by accident. Great going. So yeah, 3 Ernest collection. And we have Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Scared Stupid, and Ernest Goes to Jail. 4 action thrillers, and we have Water Road, Children of Men, Skyline, and Doomsday. 4 film collection, Dirty Harry. So all the first 4 Dirty Harry movies. So that's Dirty Harry, Magnum Force, The Enforcer, and Sudden Impact. Pretty sure the 5th one's literally called The Deadpool. 4 film collection for Leprechaun. Leprechauns 1, 2, 3, and 4. Lethal Weapon, all 4 movies. Batman 4 movie collection. Final Destination 4 movie collection. Oh no, sorry. Critters collection, and then Final Destination 4 movie collection. And actually, Critters 3 is Leonardo DiCaprio's very first feature film that he ever did. And then again, this is the Final Destination one. Oceans 4 movie collection, so that this includes the original Ocean's 11 plus the George Clooney movies. 4 movie thrillers, and this includes Gothica, Queen of the Damned, Ghost Ship, and Dreamcatchers. Gamera 11 movie legacy collection, and this includes Gamera the Giant Monster, Gamera versus Bargeron versus Gios versus Virus versus Giron versus Jigar versus Zigra, Gamera Super Monster, Gamera Guardian of the Universe, Attack of the Legion, and Revenge of the Iris. 12 movie collection Explosive Cinema. Basically a bunch of action movies, and this includes The Hostage, Iron Angel, Kill Point, Low Blow, Nine Deaths of the Ninja, The Patriot, Scorpion, The Silencer, The Skydivers, Terror in the Jungle, Top Cat, and Van Nuys Boulevard. And 13 Hours of Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Alright, next up we have 20 Western films, Old West Outlaws, and yeah, 20 movies. Let's get through it. We have The Last Rites of Ransom Pride, One-Eyed Jack, which actually is a Marlon Brando movie, funny enough. Day of the Wolves, God's Gun, Deadwood 76, Any Gun Can Play, Dan Candy's Law, Boot Hill, The Law of 45S, Yuma, Joshua, Kid Vengeance, The Man Can't Die, Dead Aim, Rawhide, Savage Guns, Savage Journey, The Hanged Man, Cry Blood Apache, and Buffalo Stampede. Another 20 movie collection, and this is 20 Savage Predator movies, and this has Attack of the Giant Leeches, The Beast of Yucatan Flats, Blood Tide, Creature from the Haunted Sea, Iga, Fury of the Blood Wolf, The Galaxy Invader, Gamera the Invincible, The Giant Gila Monster, Hunchback of Notre Dame, the original Lon Chaney movie, Little Shop of Horrors, the original Roger Corman 1960s one, which Jack Nicholson actually had a small role in. It was one of his first movies ever. Moon of the Wolf, Night Fright, Night of the Living Dead, Nosferatu, Phantom of the Opera, the original 1920 movie, like 1925 or whatever, whenever that came out, with Lon Chaney as well. Rattlers, Snake People, The Snake Woman, and Snow Beast. 28 days later, 28 weeks later, 42. Jesus Christ, this next one. 50 movie collection. Jesus Christ. I'm pretty sure this is the most movies I have a single goddamn collection. And yeah, this is beat to shit because I got this from Macari and this is how it came. But, I still got it. So yeah, let's go. Here are the 50 movies in this collection, and they are The Amazing Transparent Man, The Ape Man, Adam Age Vampire, The Atomic Brain, Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn Gorilla. What? The Brain That Wouldn't Die, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, The Corpse Vanishes, Counterblast, Crimson, Dead Men Walk, Death Warmed Up, The Devil Bat, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with John Barrymore, so the 1920 version, Don't Look in the Basement, The Drums of Jeopardy, Embryo, Frankenstein 80, Frozen Alive, The Head, Horror Express, House of the Living Dead, I Eat Your Skin, Invasion of the Bee Girl, Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter, The Killer Shrew, King of the Zombies, Kong Island, The Lady Frankenstein, The Lucifer Complex, The Mad Monster, Man in the Attic, Man-Eater of Hydra, Maniac, The Manster, Mesa of Lost Women, Metamorphosis, Metropolis, the 1927 version. Is this a silent film? Wait, I just realized that. That's not a horror movie. That's a sci-fi movie. What the fuck? The Monster Makers, Nightmare Castle, Panic, The Phantom Creeps, The Phantom from 10,000 Leagues, The Revenge of Dr. X, Shadow of Chinatown, Song of Ingagi, Teenage Zombie, Torture Ship, and The Wasp Woman. So yeah, 50... Oh, it's Mad Scientist. I guess that makes sense. That's why. Mad Scientist. Okay, cool. So yeah, I guess in that case, that Metropolis does deserve to be on this list. 99 Homes. 101 Dalmatians. 101 Dalmatians, a live-action one. Before they went buck wild on their live-action movies. So, yeah. A Chorus Line. A Christmas Carol. A Few Good Men and Jerry Maguire. A Little Princess and the Secret Garden. A Perfect Day. A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, and this is volume 1. And so it only includes 4 episodes from the series, or from season 1. A Streetcar Named Desire. About Schmidt. Adam Sandler Collection, and this has 3 movies of his. 50 First Dates, Mr. Deeds, and Big Daddy. Adventures of a Babysitter. After Earth. Yeah, I got it. Air Force One. Akira. Aladdin. The Alien Quadrilogy. So yeah, Alien, Aliens, Aliens 3, and Alien Resurrection. Alfred Hitchcock Presents Season 1. The Alfred Hitchcock Collection, and this has 5 films, and they are Rear Window, Vertigo, North by Northwest, Cycle, and The Birds. I'm going to have to rewatch Vertigo one of these days, because when I first saw it, I honestly just didn't care for it at all. And I didn't see what people see in it, and I'll sometimes go back and just watch scenes of it, and I'm like, whatever. I'm just like, whatever about it. So, I don't know, maybe I'm just in the minority there, but go figure. And last off that we have here is the Alfred Hitchcock The Legend Begins. So this is basically a collection of his first 20 movies before he made it big. And those are Alfred Hitchcock Presents The Cheney Vase. So I'm guessing like one of the episodes from Presents, and The Sorcerer's Apprentice. So 2 episodes from Presents. Blackmail, Champagne, Easy Virtue, The Farmer's Wife, Jamaica Inn, Juno and the Paycock, The Lady Vanishes, The Lodger, The Man Who Knew Too Much, The Max Man, The Number 17, Rich and Strange, The Ring, Sabotage, Secret Agent, The Skin Game, The 39 Steps, Young and Innocent. It also has like a documentary here of Alfred Hitchcock's careers, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Mills Creek. This is another Mills Creek collection. Again, I just love Mills Creek when they have these like weird collections. It's just great. All Dogs Go to Heaven, All Quiet on the Western Front, and this is actually like the TV movie from 1970, so 1979, so this is a TV movie of it. Almost Famous, Alvin and the Chipmunks. This is actually one of like the first 3 DVDs I ever got. So the first 3 DVDs I ever got were this, Mrs. Doubtfire, and then the other two, the last one, I'm not sure, but I'm torn between 2 of them, and it was either Easy A or Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It was one of those movies, and yeah, for sure this was one of the first movies I ever got. So yeah, I got this, Mrs. Doubtfire, and then either Easy A or Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Either way, if I'm inclined to say it was Diary of a Wimpy Kid, if I'm being honest. I'm like almost inclined to say it, but I know I also got Easy A very, very early on in my career, in my collecting career. So yeah, but I remember the first time I ever went to it to buy movies out. Just to give you the backstory, is because when I moved into this house, my mom remarried, and when I moved into this house, I was the one who kind of ended up with the DVD player. I'm not really sure why I ended up with the DVD player, but I ended up with the DVD player. And for like the first maybe 2 years, like 1.5 years to 2 years that I was in this house, I just had that there for the longest time, and I didn't really do anything with it. And then like, you know what, let me actually do something with this DVD player, and it's a DVD player, what else am I going to buy? I'm going to buy DVDs. So I remember I went to Target, and I got this Mrs. Doubtfire, and then either Easy A or Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So yeah, honestly, I've had this movie for basically 14 years, I guess, or not even, like 12 years. So I've had it for 12 years, which, goddamn. American Beauty, American Gangster, American History X, An American Splendor, Aemon Saga, An American Werewolf in London, Analyze This, Anastasia, Anchorman, and The Legend of Ron Burgundy. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of Adam McKay. I'm not the biggest fan of his. He's just a filmmaker I've never really cared for, if I'm being honest. Like, I think this movie's fine. I think this movie's fine, and that's it. Same thing with the second one, with Anchorman 2. I think those movies are fine. And I think he does better work in his, like, straight comedies than he does with his dramatic comedies, with like, as opposed to, like, The Big Short or Vice or what was the other movie? Don't Look Up. Like, I really don't. I really just don't care for Adam McKay as a filmmaker, and I guess Anchorman is his best movie. But like, if I'm being honest, I've always just found it like, yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. Like, that's always how I felt about it. So go figure. Apocalypto, Aquamarine, Around the World in 80 Days, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, The Audrey Hepburn Collection, and this has, what is it, 7 movies here? Breakfast at Tiffany's, Funny Faces, My Fair Lady, Paris When It Sizzles, Roman Holiday, Sabrina, and War and Peace. Here's the funny thing. Now that I'm looking at this, I binge watched every single movie here last year. I do not remember at all Paris When It Sizzles. Like, at all. So now I'm thinking, did I even watch that movie? I must have, because I damn well know I saw every single movie in this collection. But Paris When It's, like, I don't even remember the title of that one. What the fuck? I'm gonna have to look back into that movie. Which one is that one? The funny thing is, like, I actually really liked all the movies here. So I'm like, the fact that Paris When It Sizzles is, like, completely drawing a blank for me is just fucking surprising. Which one is that one? Which one is Paris when it says so? I do not remember this one at all. The other ones, I definitely do remember. So, yeah. Paris when it says so. Which one is that one? Holy shit. That one's drawing a blank on me. What the fuck? Here's the thing with Audrey Hepburn movies, too. I don't really, like, Audrey Hepburn, one of my favorite actresses. Goddamn, she's great, natural. The one problem I have with all of her co-leads, except for in Roman Holiday, the exception is Roman Holiday, I'm always like, why are you into this guy? Roman Holiday is the only one where I actually believe the romance between her and, is it Gregory Peck in that movie? You know, like, Funny Faces, like, why are you into Frank Sinatra? Is it Funny Faces or Sabrina? Like, or like, Breakfast at Tiffany's. I mean, first off, that whole movie is, like, the original story is basically gay-coded on top of everything else. I'm like, why are you into this fucking guy? Like, that's the one thing. Like, I've never understood, like, the male leads, like, her romantic interest in all these movies. I never understood, like, why she was into them, like, what the character was into them. Aside from the fact, oh, like, she needs to be into them because it's the movie, you know? Again, the only exception there is Roman Holiday. I think that's an exceptional movie. But honestly, probably her best movie by far. And yeah, like, that's the only one where I actually believe the romance, if I'm being honest. Oh yeah, and back to this. Austin Powers. Yeah, go figure. Despite Who Shagged Me. Avatar, The Last Airbender, the complete series. Baby Doll. Bad Grandpa. Batman 80th anniversary collection. This has 18 movies in it, and they are Batman Gotham Knight, Batman Year One, Batman Under the Red Hood, Batman Bad Blood versus Robin, Son of Batman, The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2, Assault on Arkham, The Killing Joke, Batman and Harley Quinn, Gotham by Gaslight, Batman Ninja, Return of the Caped Crusader, Mask of the Phantasm, Mystery of the Batwoman, Superman Batman Public Enemies, and Superman Batman Apocalypse. Batman Begins, Batman the Animated Series, the Collector's Edition, which has like 6 episodes here, and one of them is Heart of Ice, which is what I would always consider the best episode in the entire series. Bats, Battle of Britain, Flyboys Rescue Dawn, and Windtalkers. Battle Royale, Beetlejuice, Bella, Ben-Hur, Ben 10, the collection volume with a few episodes in it. Big Trouble in Little China, Blackboard Jungle, Black Swan, Blade Runner, Blame. I think this is one of like the few Netflix movies that has an actual like physical media release, and I'm not sure if it's because this is just a movie that happens to be streaming on Netflix, or this is like an actual Netflix movie release. I'm not really sure the logistics of it, but yeah, I remember when I first saw this, I'm like, really? This is a movie release? It's a Netflix movie. What the hell? You know? So yeah, I don't. Yeah. Blow Away, Body of Lies, Boyhood, Brad's Status, Brains That Wouldn't Die collection. So this is another collection, and this has The Brains That Wouldn't Die, The Head, The Atomic Brain, Indestructible Man, The Amazing Transparent Man, and The Mansters. I'm pretty sure I have 3 of these movies already in another collection. So yeah, most of these movies. Breaking Bad Season 1 and Season 2. Bridge to Terabithia. Bringing Down the House. Brooklyn. Brother Bear. Bruce Lee Ultimate Collection, and this has The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, Game of Death 1 and Game of Death 2. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Longest Day, The Sand Pebbles, and The Hustler. Butterfly, the La Lengua de las Mariposas. So this is a Spanish film, and honestly, this is a fine Spanish film. I like it, but I think the ending kind of ruins it for me, if I'm being honest. Basically, to kind of give like a quick description of this movie, it takes place in like like during like the Red Scare of Spain. I want to say, like, I forget what it's actually called. What that time in Spain it's called, but like when they were going after communists in Spain and all that stuff, and the teacher, it's about this boy and his teacher, and the teacher is confirmed to be communist, like pretty early on in the film. It's one of those things, like, it's always there, it's always in the background, but they kind of ignored the communist angle of the movie for like the longest time, and it kind of just comes in full force at the very end of the movie. And it's just very random and very jarring. And yeah, like the ending, like the final like few minutes kind of like ruins it for me a little bit, the movie. Cache, Hidden, Caligula, Cantando Bajo la Lluvia, so this is Singing in the Rain, just in Spanish here. Captain America 1 and Captain America 2, The Death Too Soon, so the 90s Captain America movies. Captain America The First Avenger. Captain's Courageous. Carrie. This is the original one. Celine Dion, A New Day concert movie. Charlie Bartlett. The Charlie Chaplin collection, so this has a few of his shorts / movies that he did very early on, and this includes Shoulder Arm, The Champion, The Kid, Easy Street, The Vagabond, Work, The Tramp, The Knockout, and Kid Auto Races at Venice. Charro, Chef, Chicago, Children of Heaven, Child's Play and The Howling, Chopping Mall, Christine, the Chucky 7 film collection, and this includes the original Child's Play, which you guys already saw, Child's Play 2, 3, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, and Cult of Chucky. And if you guys saw the video where I was featuring this when I first got it, you guys know that I'm very disappointed in how this collection came out. It is used. I did buy it used. I did admit this, and I still admit it that I buy it used. But even then, I just still feel that even with it being used, I'm still very disappointed with how it turned out. Mostly because of how it's packaged, and just very the actual like disc set, like the container, you know, like the thing that contains the movies inside here. I just felt it's very flimsily built, and I'm not sure if it's because of the actual manufacturer or because it's just used. Citizen Kane, City of God, honestly one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. The classic slasher collection, and this includes Don't Look in the Basement, Scream, Bloody Murder, Silent Night, Bloody Night, The Hatchet Murders, and The Severed Arm. Classic Western collection, and this includes 9 movies. This includes True Grit, the original one, The Shootist, Shane, HUD, Chukka, Posse, Will Penny, Johnny Reno, and OK Corral. Gunfight at the OK Corral. I mean, just getting that for True Grit and Shane alone is like the best thing ever. Click. Honestly, this is a movie that like every time I watch it, I just have the biggest existential crisis right afterwards. Actually, like I do think like I deadass think that this is honestly one of Adam Sandler's like better films. Cocktail, Collateral Damage, Con Air, Corpse Bride, Cosmopolis, Crash, Creature from Black Lagoon, Cries and Whispers, and this is a Criterion, by the way. And I don't know what it is about this, like this specific version of Cries and Whispers, this specific DVD version of Cries and Whispers, but it's always all over Macari, it's always all over Depop, like, I don't know. And they do have a like an upgraded version or a different version of Cries and Whispers that Criterion has released now with a different cover and whatever, but like this version specifically, I don't know what it is, but like people are always giving it away, so that's why I bought it. And I've never seen like I've seen on like Macari, I've seen on Depop like the old versions or like the original first print versions of other Criterion movies before, but Cries and Whispers by far is the one I always see. Like I don't know what it is about that movie, but yeah. Cube, Cujo, Cutting Edge Cinema. So this is 8 extreme zombie movies, and they are Bunker of Blood, Night of the Dead, The Chosen One, Bled White, Santa Claus vs. the Zombies, Biker Zombies, Office of the Dead, and Porn Star Zombies. Dallas Buyers Club, Danny Collins, Dawn of the Dead and Land of the Dead, Daredevil, Day of the Dead, Dead Snow. And there is a sequel to this that not many people know about, and that sequel is just so fucking buck wild, if I'm being honest. I hope to get it one day. Definitely Maybe and Because I Said So. Deliverance, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, again, one of the other movies I got when I first started collecting. Dinosaur, and Dirty Dancing. Disaster LA, The Last Zombie Apocalypse Begins Here. Disturbia, Divergent. I actually like this movie. I actually like the series. I'm kind of saddened that it was left incompleted because Nobody went to go watch this fucking series, if I'm being honest. But I actually like this movie. And the other two movies that came out during this series, I had fun with them. They're not the best movies, but, you know, I had fun with them. Django Unchained, Don John, Dread, Easy A, again, one of the other movies I first got when I first started collecting. Ed Wood, The Exotic Marigold Hotel, El Libro de Secretos, which is really the Book of Eli, El Lorax, or The Lorax, El Milagro de las Mariposas Azules, so The Miracle of the Blue Butterflies, El Plan B, so Plan B, El Principio, and yeah, this is a Mexican movie. You can actually see the poster for it right there, right next to Zombieland. Right there? Yeah, that's the poster for El Principio. And honestly, this is a movie that it's very famous in Mexico. Like, it got a bunch of like you can see there are 8 premios Arieles, or Ariel Awards, which is basically like the Mexican Oscars. And this movie starts off with like one of the most buck wild opening scenes, and then it just like never lives up to it. I'm like, what the fuck? El Reino, so the Reign, is with Jamie Foxx and Chris Cooper and Jennifer Garner. Elf, Enchanted, ER Season 1, Escape from New York, Escape Plan. So yeah, I have the sequels in Blu-ray, but I have the original one in DVD. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Evolutions, and Ex Machina. Next up, we have Feel the Heat, 10 thriller movies, and we have 8 of Diamonds, Heartlines, Wedding Day, The Gallantes File, Look at Me, A Broken Code, Desdemona, A Love Story, The Champagne Gang, Bartertown, and The Casino Job. Felix the Cat, just a few episodes of this show. Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Fiddler on the Roof, Fight Club, Film Noir Collection, and this has Whirlpool, Shock, They Made Me a Criminal, Quicksand, Port of New York, DOA, Scarlet Street, Impact, Beat the Devil, and The Strangers. And probably a good time to just mention this right now, but again, as I've mentioned in the past with some of these other films that I've shown or collections, I am trying to get into more different genres of cinema that I usually don't really look at or think about or whatever. And film noir, again, is one of those things I'm trying to get more into. That's why I have stuff like Pitfall that I showed you guys earlier, or like Hangover Square, or Cry of the City. Again, I'm trying to get more into film noirs as well. Final Destination 5. So yeah, I have the 4-movie collection, and here's to number 5. Finding Nemo, First Blood, First Man, Flushed Away, For Queen and Country, Frank, Friday Night Lights, this is the movie of it, Exit Wound, Face Off, this is out of order, now I think about it. Exit Wound goes still in the F's, yeah. Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Father of the Bride, Freaky, Full Metal Jacket, Game of Thrones Season 1, Gangsters, Guns, and Zombies, Ghoulies 1 and 2, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Ghost Rider, Ghost in the Shell 2, Innocence, Ghost of the Abyss. So as I said, I have a lot of stuff that's related to Titanic, and this is a Titanic documentary. This is actually the documentary of when James Cameron went down, when he was researching to do Titanic, the movie. This is the documentary, the footage he got when he went down to the wreck of the ship. G.I. Jane, Girl Happy, Gladiator, Good Morning Vietnam, Good Will Hunting, Gotham Season 2, Gravity, Gran Torino, Grease, Gremlins, and Gremlins 2. That's the one good thing about doing this collection review, basically, where I find little inconsistencies here and there in the way I organized it, and I just fixed it right now. I'm having goddamn exit 1 like in the middle of the whole F section. I don't know what the hell was going on there. So yeah, and I found some other like alphabetical inconsistencies that were just like out of order that I just fixed right now. So that's good. But continuing on with the collection, here we have Greta, Groundhog Day, Gus Van Sant's Last Days, and here's the thing. I know this movie, the official title is just Last Days. So logically, it should go in the L section. And you do have instances where it's the director's name and then the name of the movie. So like Tim Burton's Corpse Bride, for example, like that's what I have here. Or, you know, Francis Ford Coppola's Godfather, or Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver, whatever. But for whatever reason, this is the only one where I'm like Gus Van Sant's Last Days, and that's because for the longest time that's always how I heard it, Gus Van Sant's Last Days, and I can't just go with that. I don't know, something in my mind, I just can't have it be just Last Days. I've always known this movie as Gus Van Sant's Last Days. Like Corpse Bride, I've always known it as just Corpse Bride, not Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure it's not even Tim Burton. It's not even a Tim Burton movie by technicality. I think he just produced it. I don't think he actually directed it. I know there's an animated movie that it's like, I'm pretty sure actually maybe it's not Corpse Bride, but like there's an animated movie that's like attributed to Tim Burton, but it's not really Tim Burton. He's like the producer. I think it's Nightmare Before Christmas. I think that's the one where it's like Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's like no, it's this other guy directed it and he's just a producer. But yeah, Last Days, or Gus Van Sant's Last Days. That's the only one where I have to include the director in the title, just because that's how I've always known it. Next up, we have Hacksaw Ridge, Halloween, the original one of the best horror movies ever, and then Halloween 2 and Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I know for sure I've seen Halloween 3. I don't remember jack shit of it, if I'm being honest. Hancock, Harlem Nights, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows Part 1, and Part 2. So yeah, most of these have this prequel slipcover. The only ones who don't have are these two, because I just got these two randomly before I got the rest of the series. That's really just how it turned out, to be honest. Next up, we have Harem Scrum, Heat, Hell in the Pacific, and this is a movie that I wanted to watch for some time, and then I saw it, and honestly, I was kind of disappointed in it at the end. Like, I was kind of let down by it. It's a fine movie. It's a fine movie, to be honest. But yeah, Herbie Fully Loaded, and this is the first movie I ever remember watching in theaters. I don't remember much of it. The only scene that I actually remember from it is there's a scene where she's in the hospital. Lindsay Lohan, she's in the hospital, and she's visited by like her boyfriend, I guess, or friend, or some guy. That's the only scene I actually remember. I haven't seen it since it first came out in like 2006, probably, or whatever, 2005. So yeah, but I have it in case I ever want to watch it again. But yeah, this is the first movie I ever saw it in theaters. Hermanos en el Crimen, Brothers in Arms or Brothers in Crime. This stars Keimani Marley, Sprague Benz, Paul Campbell, Wyclef Jean, and Louis Reagan. Hercules, Her, Hero, Herzog-Kinski, the Herzog-Kinski collection. This has all of the films that they did together, plus the documentary that Herzog did afterwards. And this includes Agire, The Wrath of God, Nosferatu, Phantom of the Night, Wojciech, Fitzcarraldo, Cobra Verde, and My Best Fiend being the documentary about them too. I'm pretty sure, although Fitzcarraldo is probably their most notable work, if I'm being honest with myself, I prefer Agire. I prefer the first one they ever did together. I think that is by far their most interesting film they did together. That is the best film they did together, and it's basically what I imagined a Klaus Kinski Herzog collaboration to be. After everything I've heard from these two, from them being basically one of the most toxic pairings, director-actor pairings ever, Agire is exactly what I expected. Fitzcarraldo does kind of fit that mold too, but I honestly just like his performance better in Agire. I'm going to be honest, I just prefer him better in Agire. Highway to Hell collection, so this is 6 movies in this collection, and that is Night Drive, Followed Home, Bunny Man, Breadcrumbs, The Eves, and Drifter. Hindsight, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, and Hook. Hollywood Homicide, Hollywoodland, Hollow Man, Hotel Rwanda, Hotel Transylvania, Hotel Transylvania 2, House of Wax. This is the remake with Perez Hilton. I actually heard that like she was actually a huge help in getting this movie produced and like some of the stuff that happened afterwards. Howard the Duck. And this is one of those movies that I would see a lot on TV, like at midnight, back when, you know, you could still watch movies at midnight. Honestly, it's not a good movie. It's not a good movie, but it's like, again, it's one of those movies, I can have fun with it, and it's like, what the fuck am I watching? And that's where this falls in. So good it's bad. Howl's Moving Castle, Hugo, Hulk, the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk, Hustlers, I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Married a Witch, and this is another Criterion movie. I, Robot, and honestly another really cool slipcover that I have here too for it, which is, honestly, I love it. I Saw the Devil, I, Tonya, In the Line of Fire, In Time, Independence Day, Inglourious Bastards, Inside Man, Iron Man 2, It, the miniseries, J. Edgar, Jack the Giant Slayer, 8 Jackie Chan movies, and these include Battle Creek Brawl, Crime Story, City Hunters, The Magnificent Bodyguard, Dragon Fist, The Protector, and Police Stories 1 and 2. Jailhouse Rock, the James Dean Collection, all 3 of his feature films, so East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, and Giant. Jaws, the Jerry Lewis Collection, and this includes a bunch of his movies. They include The Stooge, The Delicate Delinquent, The Bellboy, Cinderella, The Errand Boy, The Ladies' Man, The Nutty Professor, The Disorderly Orderly, The Patsy, and The Family Jewels. Jesus of Nazareth, the complete miniseries. And Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. It's crazy to think or to know that this movie is actually an Oscar-nominated movie. It's part of the first lineup for animated feature film. It was nominated alongside Monsters Inc. and Shrek. It was part of that lineup, and it's just crazy to think that this is an Oscar-nominated movie. It's just, what the fuck. John Q. The John Wayne Collection. This has 25 of his films, and that is Blue Steel, The Dawn Rider, The Desert Trail, The Lawless Frontier, The Lucky Texan, The Man from Utah, The Starpacker, The Trial Beyond, Randy Rides Alone, West of the Divide, Angels and the Bad Men, McClintock, The American West of John Ford, Helltown, Neath the Arizona Sky, Paradise Canyon, Rainbow Valley, Riders of Destiny, Sagebush Trail, Texas Terror, Winds of the Wasteland, The Shadow of the Eagle, which is actually a miniseries, has 12 episodes there, The Hurricane Express, Desert Command, and His Private Secretary. Another John Wayne Collection, and this has 4 of his films. It's Fort Apache, The Searchers, Rio Bravo, and The Cowboys. John Wick on DVD. I have the other 3 in Blu-ray, but I have this one on DVD. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. The cover for this is like kind of ugly, if I'm being honest, compared to like all the other kind of poster art that we have for this, or like even the original poster, and like they just go with like this really realistic, weird take for. I don't know what the logic was for this, but yeah. Kindergarten Cop, King Arthur, King Kong vs. Godzilla, King Ralph, La Decisión de Ana. So honestly, this translation is kind of weird, but this is actually it's like the butterfly or something. It was like Cameron Diaz and Abigail Breslin. It's the one where like Abigail Breslin has cancer, or like her sister has cancer, and the other daughter is actually used for like as an organ donor for the cancer sister or some shit like that. It's kind of like the butterfly or something like that. This movie was bored the shit out of me. That's all I know. I saw that movie and it bored the shit out of me. La Sangre y la Lluvia, so Blood and Rain. La Vida de David Gale, The Life of David Gale. Lady and the Tramp. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, the first one. Lars and the Real Girl. Laura. Leonardo Martinez, Here I Am. So this is actually a filmmaker that I know, or not even filmmaker, more a musician. And this is just basically a collection of his music videos. Legends of the Guardians, The Hours of Gaul, Life. Life is Beautiful. Lo que viento se llevó, Gone with the Wind. Logan. London Has Fallen. And Lone Survivor. The Looney Tunes movie collection, so this has 2 Looney Tunes movies here. Los Boxtrolls, The Boxtrolls. Made in Manhattan. Man on the Moon. Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. Marvel's The Avengers. Again, similar to like Gus Van Sant's Last Days. I always known it as Marvel's The Avengers. I know it is actually called just The Avengers, but I don't know. Again, Marvel's is just like the part that I need to include it. And it's only for that movie, by the way. It's not like I have it for, like, it's not like I have like Marvel's Thor or whatever the fuck. So it's only for that movie. I don't know why, but yeah. Matilda. Me Before You. Mean Girls. Did anybody see that remake? By the way, the musical one. Meet the Fockers. Meet the Robinsons. Men in Black. Men in Black 3. So yeah, I have Men in Black 2 as a Blu-ray. The other 2 I have here as DVDs. Go figure. $1 Million Baby. Miracle on 34th Street. So this is the original one from the 1947. 1947. Monster House. Monsters Inc. Mother. This is Doubtfire. Again, one of the first movies I ever got. Period. Mud. Murder at 1600. Mystic River. And Nicholas Nickleby. Alright, next up we have Night of the Museum. Night of the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian, and Secret of the Tombs. Secret of the Tombs. Not Secret of the Ooze. Secret of the Tombs. Night of the Zombie Collection. So this is 4 movies. 4 or 5 movies. Zombie movies. And they are Zombie Hell House, Night of the Living Dead, Last Man on Earth, White Zombie, and Revolt of the Zombies. Again, another Night of the Living Dead collection. And this includes Night of the Living Dead, plus The Devil Bat, House on Haunted Hill, White Zombie, The Last Man on Earth, and The Bat. Honestly, something that you'll notice a lot with a lot of these, like, collections, especially with the public domain movies, they'll always include a lot of these similar movies. They always include like Night of the Living Dead. They'll always include something like The Last Man on Earth, like White Zombie for sure. Nosferatu always. They always include like Nosferatu and like some Yucatan Flat movie or something like that, or like Monster of Yucca Flats or something like that. It always includes a bunch of movies like that. So you know, it's not surprising that sometimes these movies repeat each other. Next up, we have Nightmare on Elm Street collection, all 8 movies, or the first 8 movies, I think. Are there only 8 movies in this series? I'm not really sure. The original one, Freddy's Revenge, Dream Warriors, Dream Master, Dream Child, Final Nightmare, New Nightmare, and Freddy vs. Jason. No, there's a remake to this. Now I think about it. So yeah, there is another one. Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation, and what is this? Also, and yeah, the 2 volumes of Next Mutation. So this is East meets West, and this is Turtle Power. Next up, we have Niños Grandes, which is grown-ups. No Country for Old Men. No Escape. Nothing But Trouble. Honestly, one of the weirdest fucking movies ever. I almost hesitate to call it So Bad It's Good, because I honestly don't even know if it's allowed that moniker. It's such a weird movie. Also, like, what makes it even kind of weirder, in my opinion, is the fact that this is like Tupac's first film ever. He did this when he was still part of Digital Underground, and it's just so fucking weird. It's so fucking weird. Notting Hill. Now You See Me. Nuevamente Amor. Newly in Love. Aaron Eckhart and Jennifer Aniston. Oceanos. Oceans. So this is the Disney Oceans documentary. Olympus Has Fallen. I really just have this whole series all over the goddamn place here. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Honestly, my favorite movie of all time. 1 Hour Photo. Only Yesterday. Original Sin. And honestly, the way I got this movie was kind of weird, if I'm being honest. My mom, she went to this event, and they gave her a goodie bag, and for whatever fucking reason, this movie was in that goodie bag. And she's like, I don't know why this was in my goodie bag. I don't care for movies, so here, you have it. And I'm like, great. Was so fucking weird. P.S. I Love You and The Lake House. Pan's Labyrinth. Paul Pawn Sacrifice. Persepolis. Peter Pan. Philadelphia. Phone Booth. Pieces of April. Pierre Etage, The Complete Collection. of his films, and they include Rapture, Happy Anniversary, The Suitor, Yo-Yo, As Long As You've Got Your Health, Feeling Good, Le Grand Amour, and Lands of Milk and Honey. And this is another Criterion collection, and honestly, this one was kind of disappointing. I haven't seen any movie here. The reason I'm calling this disappointing is just the packaging. I just find the packaging to be very disappointing, and I went on a whole spiel on it when in the haul video where I featured it. I ranted about it more in that video, so, you know, go check out that video and see why I don't like the packaging for this one. Pinocchio, Planet of the Apes, the original one, by the way, the original one. Pocahontas. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. I'm just like, why did they make this movie? If I'm being honest, it's like, it's alright. It's alright. It's got great music. Like Disney, especially Renaissance Disney, their music is amazing. But honestly, like, I've always felt like that's not the type of story they should tackle at all. They just didn't handle it correctly at all. And I feel like that's the general consensus, that it just wasn't really well handled. Pokemon The Indigo League Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. Pokemon Mewtwo Returns. Popeye. I remember there was going to be an animated Popeye movie like 10 years ago, and they even had a trailer for it released, and then I think it just kind of disappeared. Like, nobody knows really what happened to it. I think, you know, like, same thing that happened with Batwoman. It just got written off it with a tax break for whatever reason, and yeah. I think on Vimeo, they actually have the movie released with, like, concept sketches and, like, very rough voice acting, or whatever, something like that. I remember I read somewhere something like that on Vimeo. Porky's, Poseidon, Precious, Predator, the original Schwarzenegger one, Premium Rush, Primary Suspect, Princess Mononoke, Project Almanac, Psycho. So this is the remake, 1990 Psycho with Vince Vaughn, 1998, I think, something like that, around that time. Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and Psycho 4 at the beginning. So yeah, for those who don't know, the original Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock Psycho, actually has a bunch of sequels, and they're actually directed by Anthony Perkins, and they're actually really great. They're actually really good. The second one's actually really good. The third one, I liked it. I remember I liked the third one. The fourth one, I remember I liked it at the time. I don't remember it, though. I don't remember much about it, if I'm being honest. But yeah, like, these sequels are, like, generally speaking respected, especially the second one. They're generally speaking respected. I know the third one kind of has, like, is having, like, a reevaluation at the moment, or has been having a reevaluation. The fourth one, not a lot of people like, and I'm not sure if I'm in the minority of it or not, because I don't remember the movie that well. So I'd have to go back and look at it to see if I like it or not. But I remember at the time I was like, oh yeah, that's fine. I liked it. I had fun with it. Pumpkinhead, Radio Days, Rango, and Rashomon. And this is another Criterion movie. And I'm not gonna lie, I know I said John Dillman was my first Criterion that I ever bought, but I also feel like Rashomon, I may have gotten Rashomon before I ever got John Dillman. And the reason I don't consider Rashomon my first Criterion is because I'm pretty sure, like, I bought it through, like, Amazon, and at the time I probably didn't really know what Criterion was. Although I'm 99% sure that John Dillman was my first Criterion, and that's the one I consider it to be my first Criterion, I feel like that Rashomon, like, legitimately may actually be my first Criterion, and I'm just, like, misremembering because of timelines. But regardless, I'm always going to consider John Dillman my actual first Criterion, because when I got it, I actually knew what the fuck Criterion was. If I got Rashomon first, I could promise you I didn't know what Criterion was. I promise you that. And if I did, it was, like, in very past. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a place that sells movies, like, without actually knowing the importance behind it. Ray, Red Line, Reservoir Dogs, Revolutionary Road, R.I.P.D., Risky Business, the Rita Hayworth collection, and this has 16 of her movies, and they are Girls Can Play, Special Inspector, Music in My Heart, The Lady in Question, Angels Over Broadway, You Will Never Get Rich, Tonight and Every Night, Down to Earth, The Lady from Shanghai, The Love of Carmen, Affair in Trinidad, Salome, Miss Sadie Thompson, Fire Down Below, Pal Joey, and They Came to Cordura. Road to Perdition. This is a 4-way collection, and this has RoboCop, The Terminator, Red Dawn, and Roadhouse. Honestly, one of my favorite slipcovers ever. And honestly, just to kind of give a quick backstory on this one, the reason I got it, because at the time, I usually don't pick up collections if I have half or more of the movies in the collection. And when I got this, I already had RoboCop and the Terminator, so I would have only been picking it up for Red Dawn and Roadhouse, and that's honestly why I got it. I honestly just got it for Red Dawn and Roadhouse, in part because of that, but also because this is such a cool slipcover. I didn't care that I already had Terminator. I didn't care that I already had RoboCop. I just really love the slipcover. I need to have the slipcover, and that's why I got it. And then, Roadhouse and Red Dawn, I got, watched, and enjoyed. Rocky, the first one. The Roger Corman Horror Collection. I'm not sure if this is like Volume 1, Volume 2, or whatever, but this has Little Shop of Horrors, The Terror, Dementia 13, She Gods of Shark Reef, and Swamp Woman, She Gods of Shark Reef. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, Roger Corman, he just recently died, and I've been looking at some of the other collections that he has, and I'm probably going to pick a few of them up soon. Rush Hour 3-film collection. Sakura Wars, the movie. Samson and Delilah. Saturday Night Fever. Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico. Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. Scooby-Doo and the Sea Monster. Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. A lot of Scooby-Doo here. Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders. Scooby-Doo's 1 and 2. For those who don't know, these movies were actually written by James Gunn, which is just crazy if you ask me. Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Sergeant York. Shark Tales. Sherlock Holmes 2. A Game of Shadows. Shocker. Shooter. Shutter Island. Sicario. And Siempre a tu lado, Always by Your Side. And I'm pretty sure this is like that, Richard Gere, Joe Allen. I'm pretty sure it's that movie based on like Hichi, the dog. Sin City, the Ultimate Sin Collection. Also pretty cool. I'm not really a slipcover, but like this little thing that has it. Sing. Sky High. Skyfall. Sleeping Beauty. South. Some Like It Hot. Soy Leyenda, so I Am Legend. Spartacus. Speed. Sphere. Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2. Spin Out. Spirited Away. Stage Fright. Stan Lee's Mutant Monsters and Marvels. This is like a documentary / interview that was done between him and Kevin Smith. Stanley and Iris. Stand and Deliver. Star Wars The Force Awakens. Steel Magnolias and Sleepless in Seattle. Steve Jobs. Storm of the Century. So this is another like collection, Stephen King collection. And then includes Storm of the Century, The Shadows, and Sheltered. Suicide Kings. The Super Mario Bros. Miniseries, TV series, or volumes. It just has a bunch of episodes from that show. The Superman 5-film collection, so it has all 5 Superman films. The movie, Superman 2, Superman 3, Quest for Peace, and Superman Returns. I remember seeing Superman Returns also in theaters very early on, but I don't remember much about it, aside from a scene where he gets like shot in the eye and the bullet just doesn't go through him. It just kind of like squishes and then falls down. And then the one iconic scene is the one with the plane over the baseball field where he catches it. I know that scene, but that's always used in like pop culture to like show how big or how special or important Superman is. Superman Doomsday, Sukiyaki Western Django, and this is actually a steelbook. So a steelbook DVD. Usually you see them as steelbook. Usually you see steelbook Blu-rays, which is very normal, but very rarely do you see a steelbook DVD. Sweet Birds of Youth. Table 19. Honestly, a very sweet movie. Taken. Tarzan. Ted. Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. Teen Wolf. TMNT Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Secret of the Ooze. Cowabunga Christmas. TMNT, this is season 1. And here we have TMNT, the complete collection, the complete series, the 1980 series. So yeah, I have season 1 and then the complete collection. And I basically want to comment on the fact that the way this series was distributed before the collection was made was honestly just fucking weird. season, I forget if it's like season 4 or season 5, but one of those seasons has like an absurdly large amount of episodes, like 50 episodes for some reason. And what they did when they released it, they had seasons 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, and then you get to season 5, and instead of saying season 5, it's like season 5 volume 1 or volume 2, or not even, it's like volume 4, volume 5, volume 6, or some shit like that. So for the longest time, I thought I had collected in DVDs the whole series, seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Come to find out that no, season 4 or 5 or whatever season that is, it's actually like it's actually like season 5 volume 1, season 5 volume 2, but they call it season 5, or I'm sorry, volume 5, volume 6, volume 7. It's such a weird fucking mess. So for the longest time, you couldn't find some of these seasons. Like, it was just a humongous pain in the ass. But eventually they made the complete collection, and yeah, I basically gave away the rest of the seasons. The only one I kept was season 1 because it's the one that's been with me the longest. Yeah, like that's what I tend to do with a lot. Like, for example, Shrek. For some time I had Shrek 2 in my collection, and then I got the actual Shrek collection. You know, eventually I got this one that I showed earlier, and you know, when I got this, I basically got rid of my Shrek 2 DVD, the one that, you know, because it was only one. Why would I have one when I already have this one here? And that's basically what I did with this. When I got this, I basically sold all of the other TMNT seasons that I had. The only one I kept was this one, the original one, the first one, because it's the one I've had literally since childhood. It's the one that literally brought me into the series, into TMNT, being a TMNT fan. And you know, just because of that nostalgic memories, that's why I kept it. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to comment that my history with TMNT and just getting these fucking seasons, because they're such a pain in the ass sometimes. Next up, we have Tenchi the movie, and I remember when I bought this, I asked the seller, because we were it was like a comic book shop, and I'm like, this is based on an anime. This is based off a anime series, and I'm like, do you need to know the anime series to watch the movie? And he's like, not necessarily, but it'd be nice, but you don't necessarily need to watch it. So yeah, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I always remember that interaction. Next up, we have the 40-Year-Old Virgin, the Addams Family, and again, we're going to the T section, and if it starts with the, you know, even though this is Addams Family, it's actually the Addams Family, so it's under the T, not the A section. The Adventures of Robin Hood, the Adventures of Robin Hood Collection, Volume 2. So this is just a bunch of episodes from that show, from that series. The Age of Adeline. This is a movie that I know I've seen. I just don't remember shit about it. The Amazing Spider-Man. The Andromeda Strain. This is the series of it. The Archies, a bunch of just randomly collected episodes of the Archies show. The Batman vs. Dracula. Honestly, this is one of those movies that like scarred me as a kid, and honestly kind of still holds up. There are still a lot of terrifying moments, even still as an adult, and it's just creepy and just really great work here. The Belko Experiment, The Bells of St. Marie, The Blind Side, The Book Thief, the Boris Karloff Collection, and this has a bunch of his movies, 5 of his movies, and that is The Night Key, Tower of London, The Climax, The Strange Door, and The Black Castle. The Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, Bourne Legacy, and Bourne Ultimatum. Pretty sure those are out of order, but yeah. Brave Little Toaster, The Breakfast Club, The Cabin in the Woods, one of the best horror films ever. The Campaign. This is actually the first rated R movie I ever saw in theaters. And I actually saw it twice too, so it's also the first movie I ever saw twice in theaters. Basically, it's funny because the first time I saw this, I basically I got a ticket to Bourne Legacy. Yeah, Bourne Legacy was the Jeremy Renner one. I got a ticket to Bourne Legacy. It's not even that I got bored per se, it's just that I knew I was going to get that ticket to Bourne Legacy to go into the campaign, and that's what I did. And the funniest thing about this is the fact that at the same time where I'm doing this, my mom, my grandma, and my sister, and I don't know why, but they're in the theater as well, but they're watching The Dark Knight Rises for some fucking reason. My sister really wanted to watch that movie, and for whatever reason, I wanted to watch the goddamn campaign. Go figure. And then later on, my sister wanted to watch the campaign as well, and we tricked my dad into letting us watch the campaign. So we went to the theater and we both watched the campaign with my dad, and yeah, that was hysterical in my opinion. The Christmas Truce, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the Clint Eastwood collection, and it's basically the Dollars trilogy, Fistful of Dollars, Few Dollars More, and Good, Bad, and Ugly, as well as Hang 'em High. So those are the 4 movies that are in this collection. The Conjuring, The Cooler, The Craft, The Crimes of Padre Amaro, The Critic, and I got this at a flea market, and I really wish I would have checked what discs were in here, because this is supposed to have 3 discs, and it's missing the second disc. It's missing disc 2, which is like the middle of the season. So I don't really know how I'm supposed to watch this if I'm missing like half of the season, basically. So yeah, or I guess a third of the season. The Crooked Way, The Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, The Day the Earth Stood Still, The Dead Undead, The Departed, The Devil's Arithmetic. And this is actually a book I had to read for school, and I remember I really liked it, but watching the movie really kind of hit home for me. Just the severity or how traumatic the whole experience would be. It's not based on a true story, by the way, but it's like still it's a Holocaust movie, and I think it's a really good movie if you ask me. The Devil Wears Prada, the Dick Tracy collection, again just a bunch of episodes from the Dick Tracy show. The Dictator, The Edge of 17, The Exorcist, The Expendables, and The Faculty and Phantoms. And honestly, The Faculty is honestly, in my opinion, one of the best movies, not ever per se, but it's like one of my favorite movies of all time. It's definitely up there. It's such a creepy movie. And the one thing that always sticks in my mind is after they kill their teacher, their alien teacher, and they're walking out of the school, and everybody just stares at them, and you just hear them like the whispers of the characters' names. Like, that's such a creepy, and I don't know why, but that scene always sticks for me. Phantoms, it's an alright movie. That's basically it. Okay, let's continue, and as you can probably tell, it's already daylight. Right there. So yeah, honestly, I was doing this at night. I started this a little bit before midnight, if I'm being honest. I think a little bit before midnight, or around midnight. And honestly, I finished basically at around 4, and the only reason I finished is because my camera was running out of battery. I needed to charge it again. So yeah, so we got through about a good like 95% of the collection in that one go, and it was like 4 hours. So we just have to do the last bit here, the one that's basically in this area, and then that's basically it. So the last film or films that we ended up on was the double pack for The Faculty and The Phantom. So those are the last things I showed, and now we're going to continue still with the teas, because again, we still have a bunch of more stuff, so we're going to continue. The Fighter, The Flash, Season 3, the films of Alejandro Jodorowsky. So as I mentioned before, I basically bought The Holy Mountain, Leni Riefenstahl's The Holy Mountain, basically on accident, because I thought it was Alejandro Jodorowsky's The Holy Mountain. So when I was buying this, I was honestly just looking for The Holy Mountain, but then I found this collection, and it was honestly just cheaper to buy this collection than to buy The Holy Mountain alone. So this has all 3 of his films, which is The Holy Mountain, El Topo, and Fangio y Lis. It also includes a few other stuff that he did, including a short film that he did called La Cravate, and then it also has a 90-minute documentary that he did at one point called The Constellation, or La Constellación, which is The Constellation. On here, it also has the soundtracks to both El Topo and The Holy Mountain, which you usually don't see that in anything like collections or even like regular DVDs. You don't really see that. Oh, here's the soundtrack to the movie. So I just found that to be really cool. But I also found it interesting. Why is it just the 2 films? Why is it just El Topo and Holy Mountain? Why isn't Fangio y Lis? Why didn't that get a soundtrack? And it could be maybe because Fangio y Lis was probably the earliest one he did. I'm pretty sure it's the earliest one he did. And so maybe there really wasn't much of a soundtrack there for that movie. Honestly, Fangio y Lis was kind of... It was interesting, if I'm being honest. Like, all 3 of these films are fucking interesting. Yeah, Holy Mountain is my favorite one out of these 3. It's just so imaginative. It's just so buck-wild crazy. And honestly, Alejandro Jodorowsky is like one of those filmmakers where, like, every single shot is a feast for the eyes. But even then, for Fangio y Lis, as like, just buck-wild and weird as the visuals are, I just couldn't connect with the story. It basically sort of came down to El Topo. I liked. It was fun, and it was fine. You know, it was kind of a downgrade in my opinion from The Holy Mountain. It's one of those things that he clearly got better with every single film. Next up, the Forsyte Saga, the complete series. This is a miniseries, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from the late 90s, early 2000s. I want to say 2002 to 2003. The French Connection, The Freshman, a Marlon Brando movie, and Matthew Broderick. Such a weird movie when you really think about it. kind of Marlon Brando kind of making fun of himself, or making light of himself. The thing is, I'm pretty sure it was also just hectic to work on because this was older Brando, post Godfather, and even Godfather, who was already kind of a dick. So who knows how bad that the street for that film was. The Gambler, the remake from 2014, and honestly, I found out recently when I got this. Apparently, Mark Wahlberg was trying to go for his Oscar run with this movie, or that's from what it seems like, or from what I hear, and I'm like, it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong, it's a good movie, but it's also like one of those things like, really? This is the movie you wanted to do an Oscar run for? And it honestly just went nowhere. So yeah, it's also like George Kennedy's last film ever. The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, The Godfather Collection, all 3 films, The Gold Rush, The Goonies, The Grand Budapest Hotel. Honestly, when I first saw this in theaters, I didn't care for it, and I didn't understand why it was nominated for Best Picture and all these awards at the Oscars, because I was like, it's fine, but it's not like groundbreaking or whatever. And keep in mind, this is when I really started going into like cinema and getting into movies and whatever, but I just didn't connect with this movie at first, and then I rewatched it some years later. It's honestly like one of the best comedies, in my opinion, ever. One of my favorite comedies. It's just so great. The Graduate. This is one I probably need to rewatch. The first time I watched it, I was just like bored out of my mind just watching it. So it's one that I really need to rewatch and really pay attention to it next time. That's what happens with a lot of these films sometimes. When I watch them, especially older movies, I watch them and I don't really get the hype behind them. And then I rewatch them sometime later. I'm like, oh, now I get it. Usually, sometimes it's like, oh, I don't care for it, Like, again, that just happened with Grand Budapest Hotel. That kind of happened with The French Connection to a certain extent as well. I remember I really liked The French Connection, but it's one of those movies that still, it kind of came and went for me. But I rewatched it last year again, and it's like, oh, this movie's just so fucking amazing. And then now I remember a lot of beats from it and a lot of moments from it. It's just like, oh, that's great. That's great. And same thing with The Exorcist. It also happened with The Exorcist. So William Friedkin movies, go figure. But like, that happens often where I don't really connect with the movie, especially an older movie, and then I watch it again several years later, and I'm like, oh wait, this slaps. I mean, even with It Follows that happened. So yeah, The Great Debaters, The Great Escape, The Green Berets, The Heat. So funny enough, my aunt actually gave me this movie for like a Christmas gift, I want to say. And the thing is that this is when I was still doing like Christmas wish list for my parents and my family. I was still that young, and like 14, 15, yeah. So I was still doing that, and I put Heat on it, as in Michael Mann's Heat. However, this movie had just come out, and they thought, oh, it's this one, The Heat, with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCartney. Now, not gonna lie, I do like this movie, but I just haven't seen it since whenever this first came out. The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games Catching Fire. So yeah, I have these 2 on DVD, and I have Mockingjays Part 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. I actually got Mockingjays Part 1 and 2 right before Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out, so I could just rewatch the entire series. The Hunts for Red October, The Hustler, The Incredible Hulk, The Incredibles, The Iron Giant, The Jungle Book, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care for this movie that much. I just don't. It's one of those movies that, it's one of the Disney animated movies I've just never really cared for. I've never really connected with. Like I think it's fine. That's really it. I just think it's fine. That being said, this is still a better movie than the live action one. If you're asking me, I'll be honest. I don't really think the live action one needed to be made in the first place. It has more of an excuse to be made than the fucking Lion King. I'll say that much. Because at least you still have one human element they could connect with, whereas with the Lion King, that's a straight up still animated remake. So like, what's the point of it in that case? And they didn't even do anything creative with it. The Karate Kid, this is the one from 2009, 2010 with Jaden Smith. I actually like it. I know it's not actually karate that's being featured in this movie, but still, whatever. I liked it. The Killjoy Collection, all 3 movies. The King of Staten Island. The Last Boy Scout, The Last of the Mohicans, The Last Samurai, The Last Stand, The Legend of Korra, the complete series. Avatar: The Last Airbender is honestly a way better series than Legend of Korra. I actually think that season 2 of Legend of Korra is honestly one of the worst things they ever did in the entire franchise, in my opinion, especially the episode where she loses her connection to the rest with her past lives. I just fucking no. Like, there's a lot of stuff that they did in the show that kind of just broke the lore of the show, or like retconned the lore of the show in a lot of ways that just didn't make sense. But them completely cutting off the Korra from her past lives is just like, why? Just why? I didn't really think they did much with it, if I'm being honest, in season 3 and 4. They didn't really do much with it. In season 3, yeah, she was depressed. I'll give you that. Was it season 3 or was it season 4 that she was depressed? No, season 4 where she was depressed, but even then, I mean, she was depressed throughout most of season 3 and season 4 for different reasons, but, like, it's one of those things, they never really did much with that. They never really did much with that for Korra, like, oh, yeah, I lost my past lives, and she struggled with it, I'm not gonna lie, but, like, they never really went into the, like, it's one of those things that, like, she was always going through something every single season. Her being depressed was gonna just compound it with her losing the Avatar state, or her past lives, connection to past lives, and it's like, I mean, Vaatu and Rava, just that, in theory, it makes sense why they would do it, but, like, just also no. I just really hate the fact that they, like, disconnected her from her past lives, and they never really did anything with it. The Lion King, and yeah, I'm gonna go into my little Lion King rant. Like I said before, like I said with the Jungle Book, I didn't think the Jungle Book needed a remake, but I definitely didn't think the Lion King needed a remake. And here's the thing, and I know I'm probably gonna get some shit for this one, but I'm not the biggest fan of the Lion King as is. If you were to ask me to rank my top 10 favorite animated Disney movies, honestly, The Lion King may not even be on that list. And if it does, it's like 8, 9, 10. It's like right there at the bottom of the list. So it's not my favorite one at all. That being said, I absolutely hate the fucking remake. It's a morally bankrupt film. Honestly, the remake is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It's just horrendous. It looks ugly. They made a remake to make The Lion King look better. And no, it's fucking garbage. The animation, yeah, it looks realistic, but who gives a shit when you lose all of the emotion that's in this fucking film? Like, that remake made me appreciate this movie a lot more, and I already didn't really care much for this movie. And as is, I thought, like, you know, it's fine, and I still hold that it's fine. It's a fine movie, but like, this is just leaps and bounds. And honestly, I could have done this rant also with Mulan. I guess here's the thing: Mulan is a folklore story, so that one's been made into movies in the past. It's been made into movies even before Disney's Mulan. Been made into movies after Disney's Mulan. So you know that's just a general folklore story. And the remake of the animated Disney Mulan into live action, that was also just a piece of garbage because like they took out the whole point of who Mulan is by giving her powers. It's like, no, she's just this average girl who just found herself in these extraordinary circumstances, and she succeeded. But, you know, you giving her powers like Harry Potter, essentially, like, what the, like, you missed the point of Mulan. And same thing here, you missed the point of Lion King by making a remake, like, there's no need for it, and it's just fucking garbage. And honestly, like, the remake of Lion King is honestly one of the few movies I hate. I don't hate a lot of movies. I hate the Lion King live-action remake. Honestly, I know this is Legend of Korra, but the live-action Avatar, Last Airbender, that one's there. That one's also there, like, on that, to be fair, it's a little bit less, it's, like, on that border of I don't like it and hate. It's, like, right there on the border, and it's one of those things, like, any given Sunday, maybe I'll feel one way, maybe I'll feel another way, but this one, for sure, live-action Lion King, I fucking hate, and I hated the fact that I was basically dragged to go watch it in theaters with my friends, because everybody's like, oh, I want to watch it just out of curiosity. I'm like, no, I fucking don't want to watch it. I refuse to watch it, and I was dragged to watch it. My friend bought me the ticket, and fuck, I fucking hated that movie. It's one of the most morally bankrupt films. Like, that's the other thing. A lot of these live-action Disney films, like, you know, they're making it because they want to make a quick buck. Fair enough, I guess, but very few of them, I would say they're morally bankrupt. This one, I would say it's morally bankrupt. Mulan, morally bankrupt. The rest of them, who gives a fuck? Here's the thing. I don't really hate the Mulan remake all that much. I just find it unnecessary, but I don't really have enough energy to hate it. I hate the Lion King remake. Fuck that. Absolutely fuck that movie. The Longest Yard. The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings, Two Towers, and The Return of the King. The Magnificent Seven. This is the remake. And then the Magnificent Seven collection, which is all 4 movies, original movies, which is the Magnificent Seven, The Return of the Magnificent Seven, Guns of the Magnificent Seven, and the Magnificent Seven Ride. So that's all 4 original movies, plus a remake. The Martian, the Marx Brothers collection, so this has 5 of their films, and this includes The Cocoa Nuts, Animal Crackers, Monkey Business, Horse Feather, and Duck Soup. All fun movies. The Mask, The Man from Nowhere, The Man in the Iron Mask, The Mechanic, the Midnight Horror Collection, so 4 movies, and this is The Last of the Living, Grave Mistake, Awaken the Dead, and I Am Omega. And for those who don't know, I Am Omega is basically I Am Legend. That's basically the story that it comes from. And The Mummy. This is the Brendan Fraser Mummy. The Never Ending Stories 1 and 2, The Nice Guys, Night of the Iguana, The Number 23, such a boring fucking movie, The Outlaw Josie Wells and Pale Rider, The Outsiders, The Omega Man, The Orphanage, The Pacific miniseries, The Panic at Needle Park, The Paperboy, The Parent Trap, The Passion of the Christ, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, The Phantom of the Opera. Apparently a lot of people don't like Gerard Butler's performance in this, or like singing in this movie, which I never got. I thought he was fine. The Princess Bride. So The Princess Bride actually has a lot to do with me becoming an actor. When I first started acting, when I was taking acting classes, I actually did a scene from The Princess Bride. The Benzini scene where it's like, you know, with drinks in the middle and, you know, who's gonna drink this drink because it's poison and all that. So I did that scene, and it was me and, funny enough, my stepbrother, because my stepbrother, they wanted to put him in a summer class, and I already was in a summer class, so they were like, yeah, go there, because you already know that guy. Basically, he's your stepbrother, so, yeah, so he played Wesley, I played Bezzini, and then this girl, who was just from the class, played Buttercup. I think her name was Melissa. I want to say her name was Melissa. I remember she wasn't from here. She was from, like, Ohio or somewhere, and she was just down here in Miami to visit her grandparents. The Proposition, The Quick and the Dead, The Road, The Rock, The Roman Springs of Mr. Stone, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. This is another one where I feel I need to rewatch it, because when I first saw it, I just didn't really care for it. So, yeah, that's one I probably should rewatch. The 7-Year Itch, The Shawshank Redemption, The Simpsons Movie, The Skullman. So this is a complete anime miniseries, I want to say, or The Terminal. The Titanic. So this is another miniseries from the 90s, I want to say. Does it say here? 1996. From 1996, goddamn. So just a year before the actual Titanic movie. And again, I have a lot of Titanic stuff that you're going to see pretty soon. But just because it's in alphabetical order, this is the Titanic, not just Titanic. The Town, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. This is another one I need to rewatch. And it's not because the first time around I didn't care for it, or I can't remember. When I first saw this, I really liked it. I just need to rewatch it because I don't remember shit from it. Kind of like The French Connection, where I liked it when I first saw it, but I just don't remember much about it because I saw it so long ago. So it'd be nice to do a refresher on this one. The Untouchables, The Witch. I actually have this under V because it's The Witch, 2 V's. I know it's supposed to be a W, but fuck it, I'm me, The Witch, The Witch, whatever. It's my collection. I'll put it wherever I want. Let's go with that. The Walking Dead Season 1, Season 2, and Season 5. So I'm all over the place with these Walking Dead seasons. The Warriors, The Way Back, Thelma and Louise. So yeah, we finally got out of the section. There Will Be Blood, They Drive by Night. So yeah, this doesn't have a cover, so They Drive by Night. Thor, 3 Kings, Thumbelina, Tin Man, the miniseries, Titanic, and this is the 2-disc collection. So what that means, usually like in 2-disc collection, it means a lot of stuff, but this is different. Literally, 1 disc has one half of the movie, the other disc has the other half of the movie. It's one of those things I've never seen. I've seen it for VHSs, but I've never seen it for movies. Even at this time, when this collection first came out, probably like in the early 2000s. I've never seen it like that. Like the other, and I discussed this in the video where I featured this. Like not even with like Gone with the Wind did I see something like this, but no, only Titanic. It's that special that gets this. And honestly, I kind of like this collection. It's the way it looks, the way it's built. I like it. I love it. Now we have Titanic, another miniseries. This is from what year? I want to say like 2012. Yeah, 2012. This is the miniseries from 2012, and it's got like 4 or 5 episodes if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, the way it's done here, it's really cool. And you get a lot, like every single episode is the perspective of a different character during the thinking, and it's just very interesting. It's very cool. And you'll see story elements pop up in one episode, and then they get followed through in like in the next episode or the episode afterwards, or stuff like that. Or you'll see something happen in one episode, and it goes for a long time, but you don't get the ending of it till like 2 episodes later, and it's just really cool how they did it. Titanic, the definitive collection, documentary collections. And yeah, you basically have echoes of the Titanic, Titanic Remembered, the story of Captain Smith and the Titanic, and End of an Era. So those are the different Titanic documentaries that are here. Oh, as well as a bonus documentary that just says Titanic Survivors. So that's also interesting. I've seen some of those when I first got it, and you know, I've seen them over the time. TMNT, To Kill a Mockingbird, and Tombstone. Alright, this is the last stack of movies, or row of movies I have to show, and after that we're basically done with this whole video. Total Recall, this is the remake with Ryan Reynolds, right? No, sorry, Colin Farrell. Tower of Terror, Toy Story 3, Troy, True Detective Season 1 and Season 2, only have those two. I know there's a Season 3, and is there a Season 4? I forget. Trumbo, Tunnel. I actually saw this on a plane, and it was really good. I didn't finish it on a plane, but I liked it so much that I searched it, bought it, and then I finished it at home. And this is such a really intense thriller movie. It's so great, and yeah, it's really fun. It's really great. Tyrone Powers Collection. So this has 5 of his movies. It has Blood and Sand, Captain from Castile, Prince of Foxes, Sons of Fury, and The Black Rose. Unbreakable, Under Siege, Unforgiven, Universal Classic Monsters Collection, so it has all 6 classic monster movies: Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, The Wolfman, and Bride of Frankenstein. Unstoppable, Valley of the Dolls, Vampire's Kiss, Vanilla Sky, Walk the Line, Wall-E. Straight up, one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, honestly. Waltz with Bashir. I was honestly a little bit disappointed by this documentary, and yeah, it's a documentary. It's an animated documentary, and something I've kind of realized with like this movie and Flea, for example, or is it called The Tower? I believe it's called The Tower, where it's like these animated documentary movies. I don't know what it is, but I just can't get into them. Because here's like, animation is my favorite genre of film, if I'm being honest. It's like, it's between that and horror. And those two are my favorite genres of film. And I like documentaries. I like getting into documentaries. Yes, I don't see that many documentaries, but, you know, I want to get into watching documentaries. But I don't know what it is. But, like, documentary animated films, just, I can't, for whatever reason, I just can never connect with them. Like, with this, and again, with Flea, or, again, is it The Tower, for example? Like, for whatever reason, I just can't watch them. I can't just, I don't know what it is, but yeah. And I always just find them a little bit tedious and a little bit boring. And the closest one I can think of that I kind of like, and it's not even a documentary, but it's Persepolis, which I have here. I have the movie and actually the comic book that's based off on. And that's the only one I could kind of get into. And even then, that's not really a documentary. That's more of an autobiography, or biopic movie. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there in my brain, but there you go. War of the Worlds, Warm Bodies, Watchmen, We Were Soldiers, We're the Millers, Wedding Crashers, Wedding Slashers, When Marnie Was Here, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, What's a New Scooby-Doo Coming After You. So this is volume 1, so it just has a few episodes. What Dreams May Come. Another one I really need to rewatch, Where the Sidewalk Ends. Whiplash, another one I need to rewatch, honestly. My friend, this is one of his favorite movies of all time. One of my best friends, this is his favorite movie of all time, or one of his favorite movies of all time. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine, it's good, but like, I was kind of indifferent when it first came out. And although I do think that J.K. Simmons winning that Oscar is great, it's amazing, and well deserved. Wild, Wind River, Winter's Bone, Wishmaster 1 and 2, World War Z. And I remember when I first saw this movie, it was right before I was going to go to Colombia, and I really wanted to watch this movie, and I'm like, hey, Mom, because I was like, what, this came out, what, 2014, 2015? 2013, this came out in 2013, and I was like, I know I'm about to go to Colombia, but I want to watch this movie before I go, because I don't want to go watch it in Colombia in Spanish, or Spanish dubbed or whatever, so, yeah, so this is the first movie I saw, or the last movie I saw right before I went to Colombia that summer. Wolf, Wolverine, Weapon X, Tomorrow Dies Today, X-Men, X2, X-Men United, X-Men 3, The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine, X-Men First Class, Triple X, the Vin Diesel movie, Yes Man, Yesterday, Young Frankenstein, Young Guns, the Zombie Classics Collection. It's 2 of them, and this has 4 movies combined, and it is Oasis of the Living Dead, White Zombie, Night of the Living Dead, and Revenge of the Zombies. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I had Night of the Living Dead and White Zombie, because again, as I've said this before, these collections always include those 2 movies no matter what, regardless of anything, and I'm pretty sure this is the first time I had these 2 in the collection. And then the other 2 movies here in this collection, Revenge of the Zombies and Oasis of the Dead, you know, always just fun to get there. Have more random zombie movies. Zombie Diaries 2, so I have Zombie Diaries here, and then Zombie Diaries 1 is like in those little cases or whatever, in the slips. So that's why I have both of these. Zombie Diaries 2. And last but not least, Zombieland. So yeah, these last few movies are basically zombies. And honestly, it's kind of apt that Zombieland is the last one here, because I'll be honest, it's probably one of the movies that like got me into cinema in general. Like between that, Titanic, honestly, WALL-E, you know, like those films are the ones that when I first really started going into film, into cinema, you know, and looking into film 12 years ago, maybe more. Zombieland was honestly one of those movies that really had an impact on me at the time, and I'll be honest, it is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm not sure what on the list it would be. I'm not sure if it would be top 10. Probably top 20. For sure top 20. I'm not sure if it would be top 10 if I'm being honest. But, you know, it's definitely a film that's had a big impact on me, and I just like it. And I mean, I have the poster of it right there. So, you know, that just shows how much of an impact this movie had on me. And the sequel is good. I don't have it, clearly, but I'll get it one day. It's good. It's fine. It's actually a good film. It is a good film, but it honestly pales in comparison to the original one. And did you guys ever see like that random like Zombieland pilot that they tried to do 2012, 2013, whenever that was, for like Amazon? I remember that was fine. I saw that movie, or not movie, short film pilot. It was only the 1 episode, and it was fine. That's it. It was fine, but there is a part of me that kind of wishes it would have gone on to be something. But the thing is, you wouldn't have had these characters, and I think that's the error. I think that was the problem with that pilot. The fact that they tried to use these 4 characters, but they recast them. You know, I think that was the downfall of that show or pilot. It's one of those things, like, it should have been set in that universe, but not with those characters. Especially if they're gonna recast them, they should have done it with other characters instead of Tallahassee, Columbus, Wichita, and Little Rock. I don't know, have it be Orlando. You know, Orlando, Flagstaff, you know, Sioux, and shit. I don't know what's another city. I don't know. Omaha. You know, like just have them be different cities or whatever. That's really the thing that I think that's really the thing that killed that show. The fact that they used the same characters but they recast it. Honestly, if not for that, I actually think that show could have maybe had at least 1 season. I think it could have at least had 1 season because it was fine. It was actually fine. Honestly, I think something funny that would have happened in Zombieland 2 is if they would have brought back for those 2 actors who played Columbus and Tallahassee in the show into the sequel, and instead of having the Luke, is it not Luke Perry? Luke Wilson and Middledick, is it Ben Middledick? Instead of having them as the Columbus and Tallahassee ripoffs, just have the ones from the show come in. I think that would have been funny, but you know they're never going to do that because who gives a fuck? Everybody wants to ignore that thing. But yeah, I think that's the one downfall of that show is, again, the 1 episode, the fact that they tried to use the same characters and then they just recast it. So yeah. And then just very fast, I want to show you guys all the shelves that this is stored in. So I have this shelf that actually used to be in my closet. and I just stored like random little books and knickknacks or whatever the fuck on it. But now I have this shelf, and originally it had like actual planks going around it, but like they were the nails that were going on here were like just like not good. They're starting to rust real fast. So it's just better to like take out the nails, take out the boards, and just have it like this as one shelf. So here are all the Blu-rays. This is my second shelf. This is the one I started with essentially, and basically I have those two shelves there. Up above you get my comic books and my Funkos, but you have these two shelves, and similarly I have, you can even see the rivets here. I had planks going along that, but honestly though, it's actually the planks itself, like where this little screw would have been, they're starting to like deteriorate, so it was easier to take out the plank. This one still survives, so thank God. But yeah, so you have all my Blu-rays, and my Blu-ray collection basically spans from, essentially, I mean, you have the two on the side there, and it spans from there all the way to here. X-Men is right here, and then we go into the DVDs, and from here on out it's basically all the DVDs. And yeah, so this is one, and then from there we cut to my desk where we have them stacked here. I don't know if you can see it there, but I do have a little piece of cardboard here. Again, the little shelf that's here just kind of sucked essentially. Like again, this I don't know what it is with those planks, but like the underside of the wood just started like coming very loose and broke off. And thing is that there's a bolt here and on the other end, and on that I needed to put something there to like balance it, because if I just left it there, it was gonna start leaning and fall forward. So I have this like that as a little board there, basically a piece of cardboard, and that actually like does a lot to stabilize it. And then you cut it to here, you have all this, and then you have here more movies here, and yeah, again the little board here. Again, this is another one that's just like there. Then we cut to like the ones I still need to put away here. They're still kind of there on the side. And then we cut to like right under my desk, and that's how I have them stored here. More DVDs, and TMNT, the series, is kind of just like dangling there because it really doesn't have that much space anymore. So I'm kind of just have it there, and I have everything here under my desk. And then we cut to right here on the side of my desk, and that's why I have them stored here. And these basically I have here on the side, and then these two. And then this is actually one of the shelves from here. And as you can see what I mean, the thing just started like coming off essentially. But I needed something to stabilize this, and using that board was honestly a big help. And honestly, the white shelf of it all used to be a foot stand, or like a foot shelf, shoe shelf, something like that. But it honestly just really rotted away. Here where the bolts are, and it broke very fast, and it was just easier to do it like this, have it standing up as a stand-up shelf. And then I have this board again here because there are some nuts and bolts there that are still kind of just poking out to like better protect it, and also helps stabilize this board too in the middle. And that's how I have everything there. And then right now, and then I also have my DVDs in the cases here. Usually they go on top of here, which I'm going to do that right now. The only reason they're not there right now is because I need to, keep going to these stacks to take them and show them to you. So yeah, that is the complete collection that I have of movies. Just one more pass over here. And yeah, that is the entire collection from A to Z. Blu-rays and DVDs, steelbooks, digibooks, lenticular slipcovers, everything in between. That is the entire collection. I haven't edited this yet, but I'm 100% sure. Like, I'm like 99 to 100% sure that this is the longest video I've ever done. Honestly, if nobody sees this, if just a few people see this, it is what it is. I've come to accept that. I've come to accept that fact that I don't really care anymore if people watch my videos or not. I'm just doing it for myself, and I really like the fact that I finally got to that time and place, and that I can finally say that. But yeah, that's basically it. If you guys stayed through this whole thing, thank you for staying through it. This is, again, my 300th video special, even though it's the 306th video that I'm releasing. But still, Thank you for staying throughout this whole thing. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next week. This is Daniel Mart signing off.